Hey everybody, you are tuning in to the Canary Cry News Talk live stream pre-stream. You are here, we are here, we're all here together. It's going to be a good show today, folks. Apologies for the little bit of a late start, but got all sorts of fun stuff going on today. First of all, I want to remind everybody over on YouTube and Twitch, remember to clip the show live wherever you're watching it, but on Twitch and YouTube, there are those little buttons that allow you to clip the show when something happens, whether it's a funny joke or a good analysis or a crazy news story, whatever the case may be. Go ahead, hit that little clip button. It does notify us, and that really helps us go through after the show and take clips out to share on social media, things like that. So no slacking on the clips, please, and thank you to everybody who has been doing that. Let's see here. What else? I forgot what else I had to talk about here. But you know, the usual, head on over to CanaryCry.Party. Oh, that is what else. Just letting everybody know ahead of time, we currently do not have any executive or associate executive producers for today's show. So if you're out there and you've been considering becoming an exec or an associate executive producer, consider doing that today. That'll be fun. You will have rescued the show by biding your time for the perfect moment to strike and produce the show. You can do that, of course, by heading to CanaryCryRadio.com/support, or again, CanaryCry.Party. It'll get you there. All right, folks, buckle your seatbelts, stay hydrated. Let's get going.
The world is getting crazier. People are acting more and more insane. The end of the world is tomorrow. Tomorrow. There's only one thing to do when the world is falling apart. Listen to Basil and Gonz as they discuss this week's news and events through the lens of Bible prophecy. You are listening to Canary Cry News Talk.
You're listening to Canary Cry News Talk. Today is November 15th. 2021, and this is episode 411. It's the 411, baby, and today, MetaMars. Basil, I'm your best buddy, Basil.
And this is Gonz, your favorite agent provocateur for Christ. Welcome to the podcast where we bring you the best news, which is the gospel message of Jesus Christ, while reporting the egregious with a well-rounded, biblically grounded take on world events. And Jacqueline J in the chat, why does Gonz look annoyed already? Because Basil wanted us to be larger on screen, and I don't like that.
Yes, Gonz is he's feeling very vulnerable today,
well,
folks,
especially since I'm still a little sick. I got the sniffles. I'm a little plugged up, and Basil's like, let's get a close-up of your face going.
Let's get nice and big, baby. People got to see those beautiful eyes you have there, Gonz.
Why are we so humongous on screen, though?
Well, this is just for reference, Gonz. This is the normal size of normal people doing live shows on the internet. We have been existing in this sort of Lilliputian state where our bodies are the smallest thing on screen. And since I've been posting clips on the social media, you know, chopping up the show, taking pieces of the show, sharing it around for people to enjoy, it's very difficult to watch because usually we are so tiny on the screen that if we put captions on the video, our entire bodies are covered by a line of text, and it's just not conducive. So I think it's a good idea. We're a little bit bigger on the screen. We're not covering anything up. This is still, it gives people the chance to get a nice close-up of all that runny snot coming down your nose, Gonz. It's a beautiful thing. It's more intimate.
Yeah, they can see my shifty eyes when I get annoyed with you. They'll just be able to tell a little clearer.
Yeah, what are you hiding, Gonz?
We're supposed to be a podcast. The whole point was to hide behind a microphone. Yet,
I don't know about you, Gonz, but I'm not interested at all. I'm putting my full self out there.
Yeah, you're not interested in hiding your identity whatsoever. Just let it all out.
See my tiny googly eyes. Yes. So that's a fun thing if you're watching live or watching the video later. We're a little bit larger on the screen. Hopefully that makes you feel like we're real people and you're not talking to some tiny forest-dwelling small folk.
What? Is that what you thought of us?
Yeah, honestly, I can't think of another word to use besides Lilliputian, which I'm already very proud to know that word and use it correctly. But I've run out of fancy words to describe being small on a screen. So There you go. There you go, folks. See, that's me being vulnerable, Gonz.
All right. Good job.
But other than all this, you can already tell by the way the show's going so far, folks. But if you didn't know, it is Monday.
Oh, that's right.
Gary, what day is it? Monday. Monday. Monday.
It's that day again.
Yep.
And this could almost be described as MetaMars MAGA Monday or something.
MetaMars Monday. Yeah.
So you want us? Oh, before we get fully started, I want to let everybody know that the Canary Cry calendar for 2022 has reached a stage in development where it will begin printing soon. So if you are interested, now here's the thing. Last year but it's a producer created product. Producers of the show get together. They create a calendar. It's a 12-month Gregorian calendar, if you're asking or wondering. And it's filled with art by artists of the show. It's filled with fun and important dates, not just throughout history or throughout sort of the truth-seeking movement, but also in history and Canary Cry history. It's a fun project, again, completely led by the producers. Producer Isaac is sort of leading the charge on that, but Ebony Blaze plays a huge role in that, and I'm sure I'll have a longer list of names. But this year's calendar is ready. It's ready to start, getting printed and shipped. So if you're interested in that, and the artists, there are artists such as, of course, Dame Alley and Sir Dove and 88, and I think maybe Jade Bouncerson got a hand on this ball. I'm gonna have to go through the list of participants again. So, of course, I apologize if I missed any names, but when I get an official document in front of me, we'll be talking about it more in the future. But you can head over to CanaryCry.com/support or head on over to the CanaryCry.Party, hit the producer link. Over there, you'll see right at the top of the page all the info and how to get in on get your hands on a special thank you gift for producers who want to get their hand on this very cool product.
Yep.
And
I love
support the show for 2022.
Yes, support the show, and I've been using the calendar in here in the little office, so it's been nice. And it's fantastic. This is all thanks to the producers of the show here. We don't do anything. You and I, Basil, don't do anything for this. It's just
we answer emails sporadically.
Yeah.
Is the maximum amount of our involvement, and of course letting people know about it, which is very important. So again, you can head on over to CanaryCryRadio.com/support. You'll see all the info for the calendar, producing the show, and of course the calendar is a thank you gift for those who are committing to helping the show continue strong through 2022. So go check that out. Okay. CanaryCryRadio.com/support. That's right. And I should actually also mention that supplies are technically limited.
Ooh.
So if this is something that you want to do and get in on, do it sooner rather than later.
Ooh, we have a capped supply.
Well,
limited
more
edition.
or less. It depends what the demand will be. We're doing smaller runs just so we don't make 1,000 of these and then just are stuck with 1,000 calendars.
The calendars especially are time sensitive. You can't really hand somebody a
Yeah.
calendar.
Oh, and that's another thing. Yes, as far as the time sensitivity, they are created in the United States of America. They are printed there, and we've got very responsible and enthusiastic producers running the production and delivery of these. So I expect, I don't think we can make promises that they'll be here by Christmas or anything. I don't know. I'll check in with the producers. But just given the shipping issues going on in the world. But that being said, we have removed many of the things that hold up production and delivery. So I think they should come in a fairly timely manner.
You know, I'm looking at myself all taking up a lot more real estate on screen. And my green screen is pretty awful. I got like a really grisly kind of outline thing happening.
Well, there's probably some knobs and dials you could play with to tighten that up.
Yeah.
But now's not the time, Gonz, because we need to explore all the weirdness going on in the world.
No, it's all right. All right, well, to kick things off, we're going to go down the rabbit trail a little bit here.
Come, and I show you how deep the rabbit hole goes.
And it was back on December 30th, 2014. Actually, no, August 18th, 2012, I guess, was the original publishing date of Canary Cry Radio, episode number 21, Mars Conspiracy and Bible Curiosity.
Wow, 21? We did that early.
Yeah, this was our first venture off interviews, I think. Or maybe not the first, but certainly one where we got into like a specific topic, which was Mars, and there's a lot of weirdness happening with Mars, and, you know, there's a lot to consider there. And I only bring it up because there's, space is back in the I don't know, the public... The zeitgeist, thank you, yeah. And it's especially with the whole flat Earth thing the last couple years, it's been the entirety of outer space has become this contentious conversation with many. And but also I've been pointing out the parallels between the realities, quote unquote, of outer space moving in parallel with humanity moving into interspace on the metaverse kind of thing. And how the deception is much easier to pull off if everyone's in the metaverse, you know, like, oh yeah, this is a simulation of Mars. You're on Mars. See, you can experience it right there in the metaverse. And there's just more evidence coming to light. So I don't want to argue whether Mars exists or not. You know, it's a conversation to be had, but that's not really the point of bringing all this up. This is the point that I want to drive with this conversation real quick at the top of the show here, is that, how is Mars being used as propaganda, as information control? And certainly, there's connections to the ancient past, even biblical times and everything else. So it's something to keep an eye on. And just to get us started here real quick, CNET.com, the headline, NASA Mars rover roughs up a rock, peers at, quote, something no one's ever seen.
Whoa.
Ooh. Perseverance.
Roughs up a rock?
Hey, those rocks, man, they're problems, so they got to rough them up a little bit.
We've got NASA rover FLIPPY.
Sentient rocks.
Punching rocks. He's got some teenage angst.
Yeah. And the subheading to this article is, Perseverance also spots a wonderfully triangular white speck after it goes to work on a layered rock. And I'm not going to really read too much of the article because the whole point is, yeah, all right, they got a thing of rocks and they're doing stuff. Well, there's an image here of a red circle, which highlights the cool triangular speck on Mars that the Perseverance rover found. And it's an aerial shot of this, I guess, like a little ditch or a crater that's filled with rocks.
I think this is isn't this an incredibly close-up look at a rock, or is this the helicopter?
I think this is the overview, the helicopter view.
Okay, all right.
I think. And so anyway, I got the image here, downloaded it, and for those of you watching, you'll see my Photoshop pop up here. And just kind of did some color filters to make sure that things are legit or whatever. But yeah, it's definitely a triangular shaped object, and that you can see. And if you zoom in real tight, it's pretty pixelated, but it does look three-dimensional. It's not like just like a flat triangle piece. It looks like there's some depth, almost like it's a pyramid shape.
Oh, interesting.
And next to it, you can see another piece that, like, the lighting, based on whatever the lighting is hitting it. It certainly, hit it just right for the triangle to stand out more than other rocks in the area. So I don't know. There's been stuff like this all the time in terms of, like, anomalies on Mars, or like statue on Mars, or extinct bones on Mars, or whatever it is. There's always something going on Mars, whether mainstream or not. But I thought this was interesting that they would publish this on a mainstream outlet. Like, hey, we found this weird triangle. Like,
yeah,
what?
That is interesting.
That's weird.
It's like a perfect triangle, and the color of it is different from anything else around it. Why don't they just drive the little guy up to it?
Yeah, why don't you pick it up? To me, they just found the play button in the metaverse. You just go down there and hit it, and the entire metaverse springs to life on Mars.
Yeah, it might reset the simulation. Yeah, it's funny because it does have like another little thumbnail for a video beneath that picture there. And yeah, from what you were just showing, it's like a perfect little play button.
Yeah.
Just positioned in the middle of this crater.
It's so weird, right? It's kind of bizarre, but given this parallel that I've been pointing out, it's kind of like, yeah, of course they're going to have a giant pyramid-shaped triangle.
That is funny. Okay.
So let's just keep going here. Other mainstream headlines here regarding Mars. This is thesun.com. Headline: Generation SpaceX. Kids born on Mars after Elon Musk's SpaceX missions would have brittle bones, weak eyesight, and green skin tone.
Sure.
Like, what?
Okay. Little green man.
And there's a little diagram of children born on Mars, mutations caused by radiation and lower gravity. And, it's like a little green,
little
gray
goblin. Looks like a little goblin.
Yeah, but it's such a strange thing to tell the public. Like, yeah, if you're born on Mars, you're going to be like this, the quintessential alien goblin type, Yeah,
and sort of a backhanded burn on Elon Musk. You think Elon's so cool, he's going to turn your children into goblins.
And this reminded me of something that I think, I feel like there is a post-COVID sort of a memory wash. Like, I think some people have a hard time remembering all the stuff that happened building up to COVID and the pandemic, and it's occupied so much of our time and our thinking and our attention in the last year and a half that we forget some of the wild stuff that was happening before. So back in 2017, Alex Jones made headline news. This is around when Trump was taking over. This is San Francisco Gate, June 30th, 2017. NASA, no, we don't have child slave colonies on Mars. And that was in response to Alex Jones saying that there's, slave children on Mars. And this was also about the time I was looking for the clip and I couldn't find it. One of you producers out there are able to track it down. There was absolutely a point at which Alex Jones said on air on InfoWars that they're going to have a statue of Trump on Mars. It was like, okay, what do you mean? What are you talking about? But yeah, he was all about it. And according to this SF Gate, oh no, it's not the SF Gate article I wanted to highlight. It's the dailydot.com that same time period here. Alex Jones casually discusses made-up child slave colony on Mars. And this Daily Dot article mentions here that the interview where this conversation took place was with Robert David Steele, and the way they described it in the Daily Dot here back in 2017, a supporter of President Donald Trump, and former Central Intelligence Agency case officer, on as a guest, and the subject of child slave colony on Mars quickly became a point of discussion. And, there's always a little bit of suspicion when the guy talking about it, or the guy that prompts Alex Jones to talk about it, is a former CIA case officer. And interestingly enough, Robert David Steele recently passed away, if I'm not mistaken, from COVID. He's one of these guys that said that, that the mainstream picked up as like, oh, he's a crazy anti-COVID guy, and now he died of COVID. Ha ha ha. He was one of those people. So just kind of interesting in the, bringing it back to right now. But yeah, ex-CIA guy mentioning the whole Mars issue. And there's a couple quotes here from Alex Jones in the article. Quote, well, I don't know about Mars bases, but I know they've created massive thousands of different types of chimeras that are alien life forms on this Earth now, Jones said. As you might expect, and then this is the article, NASA denied having a colony of kidnapped children working as slaves on Mars. Now, I highlighted this in the article from the Daily Dot because if you're not really paying attention, you would probably miss it. The quote here from Alex Jones is, I don't know about Mars bases, but I know that they've created thousands of different types of chimeras that are alien life forms on this Earth now. Talking about, the chimera thing. He's talked about that before. We have a clip, an ISO of Alex Jones talking about it. The very next sentence is, as you might expect, NASA denied having a colony of kidnapped children working as slaves on Mars. And it's like, did they deny having any kind of chimeras as alien life forms on Earth? Let's just skip over that. Let's just not talk about that. Let's go back to the kidnapped children talk. I just thought it was kind of interesting there. And then another quote.
That is very interesting. They did not deny having chimeras.
No. Yeah, they skipped that and went back to the children thing. Quote, there are no humans on Mars. There are active rovers on Mars. End quote. A NASA spokesperson told the Daily Beast, quote, there was a rumor going around last week that there weren't. There are, but there are no humans. End quote.
Yeah,
it's like a robot talking through Mars. It's so weird. Anyway, just a reminder that this happened, that this narrative was out there, and there's just a lot of stuff on Mars recently. Yeah. Because on CNET here, November 7th, the hunt for alien life on Phobos, one of Mars' mystifying moons. We've talked about that. But it does bring me to this project I found, Basil. This is called Mars Genesis. And part of me thinks scam, part of me thinks exit strategy, because what this project allegedly is explore, invest, and settle on Mars, 10,000 unique collectible parcels of Mars covering the entire planet with proof of ownership stored on the blockchain.
Blockchain. It's Mars real estate.
It's Mars real estate.
On the block, on NFTs.
So here's the little trailer.
Parcels of Mars covering the entire planet. The card is yours, and your ownership will be stored on the blockchain.
Ooh.
Forever.
Forever.
Each card is unique and has specific coordinates, specific attributes, and a specific design. Want to own Olympus Mons? Try to claim it now.
Just try.
So
that's funny. It kind of reminds me of like the, those companies. They're especially popular in the early 2000s, where it's like, call this number and you can purchase a star.
Buy a star. That's
we'll
right.
Name the star after you. Yeah.
Well, I mean, put it on the blockchain. It's official.
Yes, that's different.
What I'm wondering though is, number one, how could this be real? There's got to be some kind of legitimacy. But I mean, how would there even be any legitimacy?
How could they possibly legally sell land on Mars?
Yeah, it's not possible, right? This is all a flub. Now, I go to the About section here, and this is the explanation for who we are. We are a collective of scientists, astrophysicists, artists, and blockchain engineers. We want to build a very cool project that would demonstrate our passion for the Red Planet and the NFT technology. While we have decided to stay anonymous for now, we will reveal our identity when humanity steps on Mars.
Oh, great. When humanity steps on Mars, they'll reveal themselves.
Yeah, I know. That's why I'm like, okay. Sounds like a cash grab. They also have their Martians.
I mean, it sounds like a great grift. We should have thought of this.
We should have, but also
there's plenty of other planets we could start parceling
That's
out.
True. You're right. We should be the first to move on Pluto.
Yeah.
Pluto. Actually, I think there might already be a Pluto thing happening. But anyway, yeah, just the thinking around blockchain and how it makes everything official in the digital world, and how they're like, just throwing out projects like this. And I think the scam part of it is real, because when you look at the number of parcels, there's 930 parcels left, and it's been stuck on that number, which means what, around 9,000 have already been claimed or something.
Yeah, right. And it hasn't changed.
It hasn't changed at all since I found this. Yeah, so
yeah, so that's a good sign.
yeah. And you can go into the smart contract address and check it out and see what's going on there and everything. But I just thought it was a very interesting example of this metaverse / outer space type of deal. And the propaganda for this, the predictive programming, has been happening for years. And metaverse might be one of the biggest predictive programming topics that we've seen, at least in our lifetime. You just look up the virtual reality or dreamscape movies on IMDb. You got Tron #1, which grossed $33 million. Oops, wrong button. $33 million.
Oh, that's the original Tron too, 1982.
#1 Tron, yep, 1982. And then there's Dreamscape, Brainstorm. I won't read all of them here, but Inception's in there. Wreck-It Ralph is in there.
Spy Kids 3D.
Spy Kids, yeah.
Game Over.
Now, number 12 here, The Cell. Did you ever see The Cell?
I was pretty young when that came out. I remember it, strangely enough, I remember the commercials for it, but I doubt I ever saw it.
I saw this in theaters, and I was 17, 18, something like that, and I remember thinking like, oh my gosh, this is like my brain is like, oh, I don't know what's going on. But now it makes sense. It's like these little suit pods where you can go into other people's minds. But number 13 here, this is the reason why I pulled this up. Total Recall. Yeah. And classic, yep. And of course, the story of Total Recall. Mars was a planet occupied by humans as part of the United Nations sanctioned colonization program. It contained several settlements, including New America, the factory that manufactured Nexus 6 brain units, a branch of the Rosen Association, and a drugstore run by Roy and Armgard Batty were located on Mars. In early 1992/2021, that's this year, a group of androids escaped Mars in a shuttle destined for Earth. So, there you go.
Oh, Total Recall happened in 2021.
2021, yeah.
Oh, that's fun.
Yeah. So, just a little interesting little tidbit there. So, yeah, I mean, there's a lot of dot connecting that people can do, but I thought I'd run through some of our Mars stuff just because it's out there, and it's good to revisit every once in a while because, there's a lot of occult ties and imagery and to the Freemasons and everything else. So
I better go back and listen to the Canary Cry radio episode. Now, just for those who don't know, you're listening right now to Canary Cry News Talk. Canary Cry Radio is a show we've been doing since 2012. Different style show, but you should go check it out. Yeah, episode 21. That was in 2014.
No, 2012. Originally 2012. It looks like there was a repost of some kind in 2014. Yeah.
Okay. But yeah, anywho, so I mean, I gotta go listen to it again. I'm trying to remember what we talked about. Well, I know the one thing that I remember from that episode is Obama's teleportation device.
Yeah,
could take him to
the other
Mars
thing.
And back.
There was a guy, Andrew Basiago. Remember, he said he was going to be president in 2016. I think it was 2016 or maybe it was 2012. I don't remember, but he was saying that he's like, he was told he was going to be president, and yeah, he's the same guy that was in the classroom with Obama while they were being trained or whatever with
the Mars
jump
teleportation.
Room. Yeah. So anyway, funny. I mean, the whole thing is wrought with like a lot of mind control type of stuff. Mm-hmm. So it's not surprising. Especially in the New Age world, there was a lot of talk about jump rooms to Mars and a lot of stories surrounding people that experienced, Project Pegasus and stuff like that. So, yeah, it's a deeper rabbit trail to go down. Not all of it is fruitful, but in the context of today and now, they have really ramped up space. Space is kind of cool again. It's a weird thing, especially, Space Force with Trump in the last few years. And then now it just seems like more people are talking about it with
of
Elon
course.
Musk.
Well, you got the space tourism.
The space tourism.
When you have structural powers at the top like Jeff Bezos and Elon Musk, who stand directly to financially benefit from people being stoked on space, no kidding. It starts popping up everywhere. Well,
people are going to want to maybe go inside and hide in the metaverse because prophetically things are happening, Basil. And according to EgyptToday.com, scorpions sting 453 citizens in Egypt's Aswan due to thunder showers, killing 3. Only killed 3, I guess. But it says here that
so we have a scorpion plague in Egypt.
Yeah, scorpions stung Saturday 453 citizens, killing 3 living near the mountainous areas of Aswan as thunder showers hit the governorate, pushing them to leave their nests, as reported by Al Aram.
Okay.
Yeah, just a swarm of scorpions.
That's pretty spooky. Scorpions on parade.
When the scorpions have an AR suit of armor, like a digital suit of armor with faces and hair and all that kind of stuff, and they're
NFT
torturing people.
Cyber fashion.
They're NFT beast fashion. We will know that the abyss is officially opened, and they've descended upon the people.
So it is written, so it shall be.
Yep.
Okay, now, Gonz, before we get into the Flippy update, I mentioned this to the pre-stream crowd, but I just want to mention it to the official live stream crowd here. There are no executive or associate executive producers for today's show. So if you're out there and you've been, thinking about producing this show, you haven't quite pulled the trigger, looking for the right moment, now might be your time. So we need a hero, Gonz, to come in and executive or associate executive produce the show. You can do that by heading to CanaryCry.Radio.com/support.
I like how we use the phrase or title hero in the context of producers, while the mainstream uses it as fodder for children.
Oh, yeah. Well, no, just like the corporate media, I'm using hero to describe our producers because, of course, in their untimely demise, we need to make it look like it was a needed sacrifice.
Sure.
But, thank you very much to all the producers, and I look forward to see if somebody comes in and takes the reins on today's producer list here.
Yep.
But time.
Oh, gosh, I keep looking at my little Streamlabs OBS window, and I'm like, why am I so huge in
You're beautiful, Gonz. You've gotten so many compliments already in the chat today.
Have I? Great.
Yes, you have. Everybody's enjoying it very much, so you're welcome. All right. Let's do the Flippy update.
Flippy update.
Do you want fries with that?
Okay, if you're new to the show, Flippy is the colloquial name for the disembodied robot arms that are taking our jobs, enslaving our children, and flirting with our spouses. We use talking about Flippy as a way to explore all the new, fun, and exciting ways that robots are taking over the world, and just how there's nothing we can do about it. Today, Gonz, we got big news. You may have seen headlines from places like MSNBC, CNN, The Intercept, all of these corporate news outlets talking about how don't be afraid of inflation. Inflation is good. Inflation is good for you. Just nice mass mind control attempt there to keep the masses calm in this coming time of uncertainty. Well, it's not just inflation that they're trying to change our minds about. Today, coming from Insider.com, the headline is, "The robots are taking our jobs." And that's good news for everyone. Oh, yay!
Yay!
The robots are taking our jobs, and that's good news for everyone. Listen up, folks. Go ahead and turn off your brain. Go into mass hypnosis mode. Just let the establishment beam directly into your subconscious how much you should be thankful for all these robots taking our jobs. And their headline image here is hilarious. For those who are just listening, their headline image at the top of this article is a young man, maybe 20 or so, kind of looks like a young Gonz, perhaps, in a waiter's outfit, wearing a white shirt and a bow tie, holding an extremely photoshopped stack of it's about probably 200 grand in, banded $100 bills.
Yeah.
Just a hilarious stock photo of a stack of money. And next to this young man is a robot. And the robot has a chef's hat on and a gigantic Italian mustache.
Yeah. What's
slightly
up with that?
Racist, if you ask me. But okay.
Racist and also racist that, the Asians are going to be the ones to accept this.
Exactly. So, yes. The image that they're trying to give us about what the utopic future of robot
Follow the Asians.
Like.
They know. They will accept the pile of the platefuls of dollar bills or $100 bills that the robots present them.
The article reads like this: even as the health side of the pandemic slowly improves, the U.S. economy remains in a strange place. Labor markets are tight, and a record percentage of respondents in a monthly Gallup poll of Americans said this was a good time to find a quality job. But despite the strong job market, the public is overall not satisfied with the state of the economy. In the same Gallup poll, most respondents said the economy was only fair or poor. But lurking under the challenging transitions are encouraging signs. Just in sort of like a neurolinguistic programming way, Laura Gonz, how often are encouraging signs, positive things, lurking in the underbelly, in the shadows, these encouraging things, that America's economic outlook may get better once the pandemic is fully in the rearview mirror and supply chains are no longer strained. Mm-hmm. One such sign is the fact that businesses are using what they learned from the COVID-19 era to become more efficient and get better at doing more with less. Perhaps one of the most visible examples of businesses learning from the pandemic is in how we eat out. When you sit down at the table, you may be asked to scan a QR code and pull it up on your phone instead of being handed a paper menu. Once you pull up the menu, it's shortened and streamlined. And once you've finished up your meal, another QR code may allow you to pay your check online without having to flag down a server or wait for a paper receipt. These changes are not just about reducing the risk of virus spread, but also about boosting productivity. Servers who don't have to come to your table as many times per meal can serve more tables. Nobody needs to print, distribute, retrieve, or clean menus. A trimmed-down menu doesn't require stocking as many ingredients, and the items can be made with fewer kitchen staffers. Even fast food restaurants, whose business models are already designed to be more labor-light than full-service restaurants, are taking advantage of the pandemic. To accelerate the shift toward online ordering and push customers to take out instead of eating in, which reduces the need for staff to take orders and clean tables. These changes all make restaurants more efficient, allowing them to take in more customers and in turn make more money. And if customers find them acceptable, that means they're likely to stick around well after the pandemic is over. And it's not just restaurants that are going full speed ahead with changes to their business operations. Airlines are leaning into booking and rebooking through their apps to reduce the need for staff call centers. Medical practices embracing telehealth visits for patients. Retail outlets are pushing customers toward more efficient online ordering. And many industries are allowing workers to permanently work from home. Now, keep in mind, Gonz, they just give us an extremely long list of some positive changes of the technologies that have changed during the pandemic. And they all seem fairly innocuous. I mean, I'm sure some people are pretty triggered by the QR codes, but more or less, nothing too serious.
Have you been brand new?
Yeah.
It just seems like. Go ahead. Sorry.
No. Yeah. Continue.
Well, I was just going to say, it just seems like the same stuff, just linguistically making it a good thing. Like the whole time I'm thinking, well, what about all the people that are I guess there's a mass resignation or great resignation happening anyway. But the people that do or are trying to work and have these jobs or have had these jobs, it's like, oh, the heck with them, these robots. Isn't it great that we can social distance now? And I don't know, it's just the exact thing that we were saying at the beginning of the whole pandemic lockdown. We're like, well, this is a great opportunity to roll out the robots and have everybody comply, especially businesses and, food places, all that stuff. It was the whole idea behind tracking Flippy. So
yeah, and notice how this long list of sort of Flippy unrelated material is all about all the good things that have come from the pandemic, including things like QR codes and apps.
QR codes didn't come from the pandemic, though. It existed well before pandemic, yeah.
Well, he does have a little paragraph in here that says, I never used a QR code before the pandemic, and now I'm a pro.
Yeah, I'm a professional QR code user.
And notice also how they're talking about the reduced need for employees, rather.
Yeah.
Like, oh, we don't need so many employees. Isn't this great? Isn't this good for you, humans? I'm trying to scroll down here and get to the robot part.
More time to buy NFTs.
Yeah, well, that's all we're going to need to do someday, is just get the NFTs going. This is an extremely long article. Down here at the bottom, found the spot here. This is the sort of subheadline. Thank God the robots are taking our jobs. Thank God, Gonz.
Wow.
The robots are taking our jobs, this article says. For a couple decades now, there's been a reductive conversation about automation in the job market as though machines are going to put people out of work and leave them penniless. This was the promise of Andrew Yang's campaign for the Democratic presidential nomination. The government would need to send people monthly checks because robots were coming to take your jobs and make it increasingly impossible to make a living by working. But what you can see in the economy right now, with the combination of strong wage growth, a large number of job openings, rising productivity, and shifts towards automation, is that machines and workers are not just substitutes, but also complements.
Oh.
When machines replace human workers, they make the economy more productive and efficient. Businesses produce more income that can be paid to employees, go on to spend. Don't you love that logic?
Yeah.
If we get enough robots, that means we can pay our employees more.
This whole thing, the concept here is, first off, it's a DAO, decentralized autonomous organization, that these machine autonomous companies will basically create wealth for the people. But on the third installment of Zeitgeist 3, there was the whole thing was based on human touch, and we're going to build these cities, these future smart cities. I can't remember exactly what they were called, but they were concentric rings, and in the middle was the factory, was the machines, and they would produce all the things the society would need, the food, the clothes, all that stuff, and then distribute it out, out into society as they lived in concentric rings around this machine thing. That's kind of what they're pushing, is like, hey, people are going to have more time to love each other and to be more artistic and fruitful and experiences, because the menial stuff,
the utopic vision.
Yeah, you won't need to do all the menial tasks anymore. It'll be time to party.
Yeah, and don't worry, you don't need jobs. I'm just going to read 2 more paragraphs and skip a couple just to make the point here. When machines replace human workers, they make the economy more productive and efficient. Businesses produce. I only read half.
Okay.
Businesses produce more income that can be paid to employees who go on to spend their higher paychecks on other products and services. Okay, so we're going to get paid.
That's how the economy works there, sir. That's how the world works. You make money and then you spend it on other things.
You spend your paychecks on other products and services, which will be produced by a combination of machines and human workers. Jobs are lost, but jobs are also created. Didn't we just read a study a few weeks ago about the myth of this jobs are created by robots thing?
Yeah.
And those new jobs are, on average, more productive and support higher wages. Skipping down to the conclusion, these are all positive changes, and my hope is that as we continue to emerge from the pandemic and as we continue to shed our labor-intensive business practices, we retain our greater openness to new, better, and more efficient ways of doing business, such as the widespread adoption of autonomous vehicles, recognizing that these changes can benefit all of us when we are willing to adjust and learn. I'm almost positive that this article was written by a robot. Seems like some serious pro-robot propaganda. So there you go, folks. That's just a little take from Insider, how the robots are taking all our jobs, and that's a good thing. To match up with the further reporting around the internet and the world, from MSNBC, CNN, The Intercept, all over the place, that robots are a good thing and inflation is a good thing. Just do what you're told, citizen.
Well, it's just hilarious that your little tagline has been, the disembodied robot arms that are taking our jobs.
Yep.
And then the headline... it's almost like they did a word search on what is the most talked about robot podcast.
It's a very personal response.
Yes. They're like, oh, this Basil character has been talking a lot about this FLIPPY and robots taking our jobs. So let's just directly answer to that. So it's tailor-made for our audience here. But
they're
anyway,
paying attention. Thanks, Insider.
Yeah. All right. Well, we have some, I guess you can call them prophecies. I don't know. A great reset.
We need a great reset.
Space. Wanna go to space?
Jeff Bezos on Deadline here, republished on yahoo.com. Headline: Jeff Bezos makes out there prediction about humanity's future.
Oh, great.
Oh, Prophet Bezos, please tell us some prophecies of our future. Billionaire Jeff Bezos doesn't see us lasting much longer on Earth. Wow. Can you imagine waking up every day one day closer to humans not being on Earth?
That's like the whole thing, though. I mean, Greta would agree with him. The billionaires and the teenage activists both agree that Earth, we are not long for this Earth.
Yeah, so weird. All right. Speaking at the Ignatius Forum in Washington, D.C. this week, Bezos provided his vision for where humanity is headed. He claimed Earth might one day become a vacation destination, just like our national parks. All manufacturing would be in outer space, with workers permitted occasional visits to the surface. Wow.
Oh, permitted?
Permitted occasional visits to the surface.
Classic Bezos, who, so kindly, as a current Earth-dwelling master, so kindly affords his current employees, occasional visits to the bathroom. In the same way, if you work in some orbital Amazon space plant, you will occasionally be afforded the opportunity to visit your home planet. As long as you don't complain and you don't unionize.
Yes, humans will be born in space and then visit, quote, the way you visit Yellowstone National Park. Bezos' dream of floating space cities that contain rivers, forests, and wildlife, he said during his panel discussion. The Independent reported, quote, over centuries, many people will be born in space. It will be their first home, said the Amazon entrepreneur. Quote, they will be born on these colonies, live on these colonies, and they'll visit Earth the way you would visit, Yellowstone National Park. He sounds like a psycho person talking.
He is.
What?
He is continuing to be a psycho person.
Oh my gosh. He added that the floating cities of the future are more likely than colonizing distant planets, a subtle dig at Elon Musk's predictions of Mars. Bezos didn't indicate whether Amazon would deliver to a floating cities. And, the floating cities things is interesting, too, because remember, this was one of those conspiracy fringy topics a few years ago where... And some of it probably was fake, but there was all this footage coming out of people grabbing or seeing floating cities, maybe like a blue beam hologram type thing in the sky.
Oh, like in the clouds and stuff.
Yeah, there'd be a projection of a cityscape kind of deal. Mm-hmm. I wonder if this was sort of, a kind of test, or Bezos making a trip up there, opening the portal to the little test
or
space
just
station.
Preparing everybody to imagine a life in the clouds.
Yes. That's it for the article. But I did want to. There was a scripture I wanted to pull up, but I forgot where the passage sits. It's not good when you can't remember.
You didn't make a note.
Verse. I got distracted, and it's one of those things where I should have done it before while you were doing some prep work, and I was sitting there twiddling my thumbs.
Yeah.
But you know how things go. Things don't work out the way. Let's see. It is in the book of Old Testament. No, where is it? Come on. I know. Oh, here it is. Obadiah. There's only one book, so it's fairly quick here.
You're a real professional, Gonz. Listen to that vamping, folks.
Filibuster. Obadiah 1. And the passage is verse 3 and 4 here. 2, 3, 4. Behold, I will make you small among the nations. You will be deeply despised. The pride of your heart has deceived you, O dwellers in the clefts of the rocks, whose habitation is the heights, who say in your heart, who can bring me down to the ground? Though you soar like the eagle and make your nest among the stars, even from there I will bring you down, declares the Lord.
Watch out,
Directly
Bezos.
talking to Bezos and Elon and all those characters. Was God in back in Obadiah. So anyway, there you go.
Okay. Speaking of bringing down the high places, let's check in with COVID.
It's Corona time. COVID-19, COVID-19, COVID-19,
COVID-19.
Yes. COVID-19. COVID-19. Coronavirus.
Vaccine. Number one way.
Okay. You know what to do, folks. Gonz, you have a note here. You want to give us this note first?
Yeah. The Times of Israel headline here. In world's first, Israel to hold national drill to prepare for future COVID variants.
Fun.
Yep, with virus numbers down, PM Bennett.
Whenever Israel runs a drill, things are going to be fine.
I know. The subheading here is with virus numbers down, PM Bennett says Israel is not packing up management bodies and pandemic fighting forces yet. So just keeping it going down there. And, Israel recently in the news, too, we dropped the article, but Fauci, there's an article about Fauci warning the vaccinated people, and part of his whole argument is we need to look at Israel to help lead us in the conversation about boosters. It was like, oh, okay, just like 2 weeks ago you were like, don't listen to Israel.
That is hilarious. Yeah. Of course, the Israeli data showing boosters literally do nothing to.
Well, the vaccines, the waning effectiveness of the vaccine in general, and then needing the boosters. They knew
the waning effectiveness of the vaccine 6 months ago, and they were trying to tell everybody, hey, these vaccines are going to wear off really quick, everybody, just letting you know. And it was
Roll out the boosters.
Yeah, it was like a talking point, and then of course you had Fauci and others saying, "Oh, don't listen to the Israeli data. That's not applicable to us. So just forget it." And then suddenly, turns out just because you tell us to ignore it, Fauci, doesn't mean it isn't real.
It's just data.
Yeah.
That was it. That's the note.
Yeah. Okay. Well, that's interesting. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Well, that is something to keep an eye on. I mean, like I said, whenever Israel is rolling drills on something, it usually evolves into something very notable immediately afterwards, as we saw with the most recent armed conflict that just happened to break out during a scheduled full 100% all hands on deck drill.
Yeah.
Okay, well, I got this other one coming for you. This is very interesting, coming from the UK. The outlet is the DailyMail.co.uk, and the headline reads, Operation RampDown, leaked official COVID exit plan to dismantle key measures, including self-isolation, mass testing, and test and trace by early next year. It goes like this. Britain's response to COVID is set to be dramatically scaled back early next year as part of a pandemic exit strategy, codenamed RampDown. The secret Whitehall plan is detailed in official government documents leaked to the Mail on Sunday. They describe how much of the government's £37 billion emergency program for dealing with the virus will be dismantled and the country prepared for living with COVID for years to come. The extraordinary 160-page dossier includes a string of documents marked official sensitive, drawn up by the senior government officials tasked with winding down Britain's battle against the pandemic. The file reveals how the government is set to axe the legal requirement for those who catch the virus to self-isolate for 10 days.
Ooh, big deal.
Yeah, that's no self-isolation if you get sick. That's interesting. End free COVID tests and instead allow private companies to charge for lateral flow and PCR tests. So I mean, I don't know. Ending free tests isn't necessarily the most exciting part of things, but okay.
Leaked!
Yeah. Shut down the national test and trace system, which identify those who may have been exposed to the virus. So that's their app, their little app thing.
Yeah, that's kind of a big deal. What, did they have something else already in play? They don't need this app level test and trace. They got all the 5G towers ready?
No, everybody's chipped.
They're chipped now. Okay, all right.
Focus the fight against COVID on tackling local outbreaks and protecting highest risk settings, such as care homes, and scrap £500 payments for those on low incomes who must quarantine.
I thought you're not... Hold on. So there's still going to be quarantine?
Well, it says you don't have to self-isolate for 10 days.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. So why would there still be quarantine? Who must quarantine? They get it and they're, what? They're dangerous? I don't know. Like, what's...
I don't know. Yeah, it is interesting. I mean, the logical track of that means, well, if there's no quarantine, then we're not going to give you $500 to quarantine. So that it could be as, simple as that, or perhaps there's another quarantine situation. You just don't get paid for it.
Right.
In the documents, experts say COVID will remain at endemic levels for years and that mutant strains of the virus will also remain a very real risk. But crucially, the government's central planning assumption, described as the leaving soon scenario, ooh, spooky, predicts there will be no winter resurgence of the virus. That's an interesting little detail. Over here in the U.S., all we ever hear about is how we're all going to die this winter.
Dark winter's coming.
Yeah, we've got another dark winter coming. Apparently, the winter in the U.K. Is not going to come with the resurgence of COVID. Weird how COVID sort of acts differently based on your geographical location. The revelations come as the number of new COVID cases plunged by more than a quarter in just over 3 weeks, from 52,000 a day to 38,351, and more than 12 million people have had their booster vaccines. The leaked RampDown plans will be hailed by business owners and families exhausted by Britain's 2-year battle against the virus. Professor Robert Dingwall of Nottingham Trent University, one of the UK's leading sociologists and a former government advisor, said, "I very much welcome the fact that people are planning for the end of the emergency and the restoration of everyday life. Treating COVID like any other respiratory infection should encourage people to dial down the fear and anxiety that have bedeviled the country for the past couple of years."
Well, at least they admit it. That it's the fear and anxiety that's being pushed out into the public there.
Totally. But one Whitehall source has told the Mail on Sunday that some systems for monitoring the spread of the disease have already been shut down, sparking alarm among the government scientists. Another source also said large number of health experts who have led the fight against the virus for 18 months are, quote, just walking away from the government. resulting in huge loss of knowledge. So they seem to have a similar situation as us, Gonz. All these people who have been put in charge and having to deal with public health and politics, they're just tired of it and just walking away, kind of like the FDA officials and CDC officials that we have here in the U.S.
Yeah. Replace them with robots. They're no good.
Exactly. Quote, "It's totally over in the minds of ministers," the source said. "But what happens if a new variant arrives and they have just shut down the whole national infrastructure? Are we retaining enough knowledge from the £37 billion investment over the past 2 years? I really don't think we are." The RampDown strategy is being hammered out as part of a 6-week review of the government's test, trace, and isolate regime by officials at the UK Health Security Agency, a new body headed by former Deputy Chief Medical Officer Dr. Jenny Harries. The documents reveal that the officials are examining what activities can we start ramping down before April and what the end state of Britain's response to COVID should be after April. Their conclusions are due to be finalized by Dr. Harries and other key officials this weekend before being submitted to Health Secretary Sajid Javid. It is likely the government will unveil the plan by the end of the year unless there is a resurgence of cases caused by an unmanageable new strain of the virus. Crucially, the documents reveal that ministers are set to abandon attempts to stop COVID-19 spreading at all costs. Instead, health officials will judge future policies against the same kind of cost-benefit analysis used to decide whether the NHS can afford expensive new drugs. Quote, "We will no longer be prioritizing the previous objectives of breaking chains of transmission at all costs," one document said. Another document discussed earlier this month declared the government will end national trace and self-isolation policies and move from whole population approaches to targeting the vulnerable. Insiders say the RampDown strategy was partly being driven by the need to rein in the vast sums being spent on the pandemic.
Oh, it's a money thing.
Yeah, it's a money thing for sure. And it kind of goes on, but there you go. You kind of get the point. There at least exists a plan to ramp down, as they call it, from at least some of the bigger aspects of, or apparently the more expensive aspects of the COVID lockdowns.
Yeah. It's almost like they need to do this, especially if there's financial incentives to save the money to use it for something else. Yeah. Got to move the money over to the ESG compliant companies,
Yeah,
start doing the climate change stuff.
Yeah, it's true. Yeah, that's actually a great point. Yeah, we're moving on to climate change again. We need to reallocate all these COVID dollars to climate change stuff.
We're going to have climate quarantine soon.
That totally is actually a real thing. Yeah. So, I kind of have mixed feelings about this. Of course, any ramping down of these crazy isolation policies and track and trace and stuff like that is definitely good news. I am a little bit concerned about what was not mentioned. I'm not currently aware at the top of my mind what exactly the vaccine mandate situation is in the UK. But that was not mentioned at all in this article.
I thought they were doing the passports in certain areas.
Yeah, so if they are doing some sort of mandate and vaccine passport thing, that was not mentioned in this. So it sounds like that might be sticking around, even after this ramp down thing, which is the biggest part of it. It's almost like they're giving up on some of the little things, and that people can be like, yay, we don't have to isolate, and we don't have to use this stupid app, and we don't have to, do this and that. Oh, but I guess the vaccine passports are sticking around. It's a bit of a trade-off.
Yeah,
I don't know. I'm not unconcerned about what this would look like.
The Express.co.uk published today, GP dismantles Javid's mandatory COVID vaccination policy. Argument doesn't hold. And there's like a video here, but basically this Javid guy or gal, I think it's a guy, expanded vaccine mandates to all NHS frontline workers last week to curb coronavirus infections. And then this Dr. Honderkamp said that it's ridiculous, even because the vaccine doesn't even work. The whole similar argument there. So
yeah, sure.
Kind of the state of the country.
We'll keep an eye on it, but for a big Western country like the UK to do something like that is actually a pretty big move. Now, it's a leak. I'm sure they did it on purpose to kind of test the waters. This is what they do. So they'll see what the public thinks about it. So, making a big outcry about how this is a positive thing is definitely something you could do in the UK if you agree with this. The context, in the context of Brexit is also very big. This is a very big deal because if Brexit had not taken place, the UK would not be allowed to do this. This is exactly what Brexit was sort of the reason for, disconnecting from the European Union was, allows the UK to do this without any sort of, accountability from other European nations. Because it feels like the EU and EU nations are extremely far from getting anywhere close to this type of attitude. But I don't know. We'll have to wait for the leak of those documents, too.
Yep. Always got to be a little skeptical of any time there's leaked documents.
Mm-hmm.
So we got another story here from The Guardian, and this one is features one of our favorite doctors apparently on the show.
Oh, yeah.
TheGuardian.com. The headline here, detox routines won't undo COVID vaccine, experts tell anti-vaxxers.
Yeah, I started seeing this pop up over the past few days, and it was really interesting because I had not heard anything about a detox to anti-vaccine yourself, to de-vax yourself. But I kept seeing it pop up everywhere. I was like, who the heck is saying this? This is weird.
Medical experts are speaking out against COVID-19 vaccine detoxes that some inaccurately claim can remove the effects of vaccinations received under mandates and other public health rulings. In one TikTok video that has received hundreds of thousands of views, Carrie Madej, is that how you say it now? Madej?
Yeah.
Madej.
Weird how they didn't call her Dr. Carrie Madej.
Yeah.
Notable.
Well, it does say, an osteopath based in Georgia falsely claims a bath containing baking soda, Epsom salts, and the cleaning agent borax will, quote, detox the vax from anyone who has received the jab. Experts say such a bath could irritate the skin and eyes, but will not remove the effects of a COVID vaccine. In Kansas, Dana Hawkinson, medical director of infection prevention and control for the State University Health System, told the Kansas City Star borax was, quote, potentially caustic and harmful. Angela Rasmussen, a virologist and adjunct professor at the University of Saskatchewan in Canada, told NBC News, quote, once you're injected, the life-saving vaccination process has already begun. You can't unring a bell. It's just not physically possible. Yeah. It's so strange because part of what I don't know, this feels very purposeful from all sides here to just confuse the conversation even further.
Yeah. And to be fair, when I heard this, when I read this, Dr. Carrie Madej says you can take a bath in borax and cleanse yourself of the vaccine. First of all, I said, okay, that does sound like something she would say. But secondly, I actually gave her the benefit of the doubt because it harkened back to the Trump drinking bleach thing.
Right.
Where Trump never, ever said you should drink bleach.
Yeah.
He said maybe there is some kind of
cleaning agent or something like that.
No, what did he say? Disinfectant. He said maybe there's a way to disinfect the blood, is what he said. Right. And that turned into, Trump wants you to drink bleach. Trump wants you to drink bleach. So I thought to myself, okay, everybody's reporting Dr. Carey wants us to bathe in borax. Honestly, I don't know much about borax. It doesn't sound like something I would want to get in a bath with.
I know that borax, especially like the New Age group, I guess, people have talked about borax being used to decalcify the pineal gland for years. It's been a thing.
Really?
Oh, yeah.
Do people drink it?
Yeah,
How do you do that?
You're supposed to ingest some of it. And they're saying that it's, I've heard the whole conversation about it, they want you to think it's toxic, but it's not. It's going to decalcify your pineal gland and you'll be able to
I don't know about that,
connect
folks.
back. Yeah. So anyway,
that's pretty funky. I mean, I know borax does a great job of cleaning up calcium stains on your bathtub, but not sure if borax crosses the blood-brain barrier.
Well, let's finish talking about.
Hold on. Let me just real quick.
Yeah, go ahead.
I just want to say I wanted to get, just because we've our takes on Dr. Carrie Madej really triggers people, and I want you to know. I was giving Dr. Carrie Madej the benefit of the doubt. I thought, they did this to Trump. I want to see exactly what she said. I don't want to be getting it from the mainstream. Let me find exactly what she's recommending. And so it wasn't easy to track down, especially because I don't have TikTok. But we were able to find a video of where this came from. Do we want to play that now?
Detox. So I love detox baths. They take care of radiation poisoning. They take care of pesticides. They take care of heavy metals, all kinds of things, even some parasites. So if you got a bathtub, someone's got a bathtub, that's the easiest, fastest way. Good old baking soda. So 1 or 2 cups of baking soda, 1 or 2 cups of Epsom salts in there. That already is a wonderful radiation detox. It gets fungus, yeast out of your body as well. You add a little bit of bentonite clay. Aztec Secret is a wonderful brand, 1/2 to 1 cup. Now you've also got a major pull of poison coming out. You add in 1 cup of borax, that laundry detergent. That'll take nanotechnology out of you. You scrub down. 20 minutes as hot as you tolerate it, right?
That was me sounding the foghorn.
Okay. Wow,
she just drops nanotech just out of nowhere.
Yes.
You get borax, it clears you of nanotech.
See, this is why we got to listen to the source, because the articles never say Dr. Carrie Madej says take borax to kill the nanobots, okay? This is why it's important to get from the source. Okay, so she does, I was trying to give her the benefit of the doubt. She does say take a bath with borax and it will kill the nanotechnology in your blood.
Yes, and she believes that the nanobots are in the vaccine, therefore...
Yes, it will de-nanovax your blood.
You. Yeah, so okay, so she said it,
And real quick, I just want to mention, I don't personally know if it is dangerous to take a bath in borax. I don't know that. I could do a quick Google search. I didn't do it.
Why don't we test it out here now, live on air? Basil steps into a
bonus stream
with the VR headset on.
Yeah. Basil VR metaverses while in a bath of borax. See, these are the ideas, Gonz, that could really get us to go viral, baby.
Well, okay, so here's the other side of the conversation. So, low-hanging fruit for the mainstream to pick something Dr. Carrie Madej says this and just spin it and do a debunking and the whole deal. Mm-hmm. What's interesting, though, is that in the process of doing so, the mainstream is basically admitting once you get the injection, there's absolutely no reversing it, which is an interesting thing to really press in, because some of the concerns were, hey, does it mess with your DNA? And we know it gets really technical when you start having that conversation. And I think generally speaking, it doesn't completely change your DNA. There could be some instructions for your body to start producing these proteins or whatever. Yeah. But it's just strange how it is forced, first off, low-hanging fruit, to dive on it, to have this explanation, but then also this other side of no, once you get the vaccine, it is for life. It's with you forever. It's like this weird thing that they're forced to admit.
This helplessness that they want to to sort of instill in the people who might regret their decision. But again, folks, we got to kind of stick to our guns on this Dr. Carrie Madej thing. I know a lot of people get really triggered and they like her. But it does, one of the one of the analyses that really came to mind when we were first interacting with her material was she just screams disinfo. It just screams disinfo project, specifically to make, people questioning the mainstream narrative look a little cuckoo bananas. And unfortunately, telling people to take a bath in borax, it seems to be right around those same lines, especially because it's a repeat of the tactic we saw before, which was the Trump bleach thing. It's basically a direct repeat of that. And, these people at the intelligence agencies are not necessarily especially creative. When they find something that works, they just keep using it. And so, I am not going to take a bath in borax. I really don't recommend anybody else does. It sounds like I know. And here's, I also want to be clear, to vocabularize my empathy for people who got the vaccine, maybe who were coerced into it and didn't want it, but got it because it felt like they had no choice, and regret it, or whatever the case may be. Those people are in a very serious situation, and I do want to respect that situation, because that is a very sort of traumatizing and troublesome situation to be in, to feel such regret for something that is seemingly irreversible.
Right.
So, when somebody's in that position, of course they will try anything. If you hear if somebody tells you that it's reversible and you just got to try this thing, of course somebody's going to want to do it. Regret is a very powerful motivator. So I think we need to remember to humanize people in that position, because it's a very troubling position. And, when you're in a situation like that, you will do anything to try to make it right.
Yeah.
But on the other hand, I do not think that this is real or works. I'm not a scientist, but that's just my gut instinct based on the little that I know about borax, and especially it probably doesn't not work. But depending on the dilution that you use, it could definitely be dangerous to take a bath in borax. I mean, I'm sure there are dilutions that are, wouldn't kill you. But, that's the thing with people following weird homeopathic stuff on the internet, is if you do it with a quarter tablespoon and it doesn't work, some people might try to use the whole box. And definitely that will result in some permanent damage to your body that you don't want.
I just want to open my third eye, bro. Come on, man. All that calcification.
Yeah.
Just need to clear it out.
I'm a little bit more worried about the calcification in your bones. There's other calcium in places in your body you actually do want it to be.
The other thing that's going back to the Carrie Madej clip here, she says it, and then she waits for the audience to kind of gasp, and then people start yelling. Yeah, people start yelling at her like, "Oh, where do we learn more?" And then she drops a website or something. Just kind of watch this.
Cup. Now you've also got a major pull of poison coming out. You add in 1 cup of borax, that laundry detergent. That'll take nanotechnology out of you. You scrub down, down. 20 minutes as hot as you tolerate it, right? I'm just getting a new website started, CanaryCry.Party.
There you go. Yeah, and she starts pushing the website where you can find all this information.
Scrub down. And why borax? Why would that specifically kill the nanotechnology? I don't get that. I don't know.
It's because the elite, that's what they use, bro.
Okay, yes, the elite love borax.
That's the secret.
All right, let's keep moving. Here is this is a document that came out a few days ago, I believe, maybe beginning of the week. And November 5th is when this document came out. Very interesting document, and it's people have been bringing a lot of different theories and angles and perspectives on this, but I think we should just present the document straight up and then go from there. What do you think?
Yep, go for it.
Okay, this is a letter from the Department of Health and Human Services. This is, let me open up the actual document here. Yes, so Department of Public Health and Human Services sent via email to Elizabeth Brim. Is this to or from Elizabeth Brim? That's the real question. This is to Elizabeth Brim, who's an attorney in New York. And it says here, second letter subject, final request letter. The letter reads like this, response letter. Dear Ms. Brim, the Centers for Disease Control and Prevention and Agency for Toxic Substances and Disease Registry, that's the CDC and the ATSDR, received your September 2nd, 2021 Freedom of Information Act, FOIA, request on September 2nd, seeking, quote, documents reflecting any documented case of an individual who, 1, never received the COVID-19 vaccine, 2, was infected with COVID-19 once, recovered, and then later became infected again, and 3, transmitted SARS-CoV-2 to another person when reinfected. So this was a FOIA request asking what documents the CDC had that proved or even related to any account of someone not being vaccinated, getting COVID, and then recovering, and then getting infected again.
And then spreading it specifically.
Well, that's the next one. Yeah. So natural immunity, unvaccinated natural immunity, and then transmitted SARS-CoV-2 to another person when reinfected. A search of our records failed to reveal any documents pertaining to your request. The CDC Emergency Operations Center, EOC, conveyed that this information is not collected. You may contact our FOIA public liaison, yada, yada, yada. If you're not satisfied with the response, you may administratively appeal by writing to the Deputy Agency Chief FOIA Officer, yada, yada, yada. So, long story short, the CDC claim to not have a single document pertaining to an unvaccinated person who obtains natural immunity ever spreading SARS-CoV-2 to another person. Not a single piece of documentation of that. Now they claim that it's because they don't collect that information. But it's very interesting that they don't collect that information, considering they've had a lot to say about the efficacy of natural immunity and how dangerous it might be to others. Because we do know they do have data and documents regarding vaccinated individuals spreading COVID, but no data regarding someone with natural immunity. So just a very interesting data point as we continue to try to square the science with the political actions and public health measures being forced upon the American people. Just a little weird how it, once again, doesn't seem to be much data behind a lot of these policies.
Yeah, it's become a complete mess, hasn't it? And we always knew that eventually it was going to get there, but
yeah,
man. Just in 2 years, we politicized medicine to the degree of dividing the entire world into vaxxed or unvaxxed.
Yep, and
pretty
just
crazy.
Even more importantly, the science doesn't matter. It's not about public health. It's not about the science. It's about the politics.
Yeah,
and it hasn't worked out for them.
We dropped a story from Gizmodo. Scientific publisher retracts 44 papers for utter nonsense. And we dropped it because of time, but it's funny because it goes through some of the articles that were being published, like making it through the peer review process, or at least the review process.
It's making it into the journal.
Yeah.
And we've covered that a couple times over the past few months. But yeah, it just continues that it is possible to get just complete gobbledygook into medical journals.
I know. It's pretty funny, though.
So it's the state of affairs as far as scientific publishing is pretty sad.
Yeah.
But it's not sad, Gonz.
What's that?
Thanking some producers.
Yeah, before we do, though, it's party time.
Party time.
CanaryCry.Party. Put it in your URL. It's CanaryCry.Party, and you'll find our LINKTREE where you can do all kinds of things. Subscribe to our email list, receive newsletters with updates and show notes, explore all the platforms where we currently live stream. You can connect with others in Discord Discourse. We have our own Discourse, which is CanaryCry.community, and support the show by hitting the support button.
Nailed it.
Yep.
Thank you very much for that, Gonz, and welcome to the producer party, everybody. We're going to take a quick little break and thank some of the producers, but don't go anywhere, because after the break, we've got our politics section. We've got some news on Trump selling some things, a little update on the Steve Bannon issue and January 6th. We've got Elon and Bernie going at it. That's very unsurprising.
Yeah.
And then some breaking news today as well from the UK. So there you go. Don't go anywhere. We got a great second part of show after the break. But before that, we want to thank some producers. And that's right. I said producers, folks, because just like the real world, those who pay to have a piece of media produced, they are producers. And it's all thanks to the value for value model, which is a very simple idea. It's the idea that we create value 3 times a week doing this show, and we try our very hardest at it. And if you get any value out of what we do here, you have the opportunity or the responsibility to put some value back in, because it's the only way the show continues. You may have noticed no advertisements, no affiliate codes, no products like super secret mail enhancement or freedom phones, nothing like that. No, we are entirely on the value for value model. And this has a couple of benefits. Number 1, corporate money in, excuse me, corporate money equals corporate
Can't
influence.
Even say it.
I had a little
without choking.
I had a frog building. Yes, yeah. Corporate money. Blah. I can't even. I don't even like the taste of those words in my mouth. Yes, corporate money equals corporate influence, which means that makes independent media extremely difficult or potentially non-existent. You see, folks, it's not hard to get advertisements on a podcast, especially one this size. In fact, we get emails every week begging for advertising opportunities. That means, just to be clear, just to break that down, folks, we get emails every week begging to sell your attention, to sell your trust to somebody else for our own personal gain. It's easier now to turn them down than it was in the early days, but just so you know how often this actually comes up as something prodding our minds, tempting us to turn around and sell your trust and attention to a corporation. And we just decided long ago that is not the way to go. There are spiritually wrong implications to that. The idea that we are incentivized to get as high of numbers, to get the most amount of listeners, to get them to tune in as often as possible, simply so we can package that up, turn around, and sell it to a corporation so they can use that data and use our platform to brainwash the public and individuals into thinking that, oh, there are products out there that will finally bring you fulfillment and wholeness and happiness, because that's what advertisers do. I mean, you may think that I'm being maybe a little bit alarmist on that, but I'm telling you, I'm absolutely not. Those are the types of conversations that happen in advertising and PR meetings. How do we convince the people that this will make them happy? And I'm just telling you right now, folks, no matter what underwear subscription or online mattress you purchase, that's not the thing that's going to bring you happiness. So we just decided to disconnect from that model altogether, and we couldn't be happier. But what this does do is give you an opportunity to take control of your own media future. Sure, you could go watch other shows. You know, if Canary Cry News Talk went away and nobody ever produced it again, and we decided we needed to go get jobs or something, go become FLIPPY repair people or something, we could do that. not necessarily hoping that happens, but in that case, you would have to go partake in content that just feels free to advertise to you. And it feels normal to us. You know, we've been raised in a system that's convinced us that we're not selling ourselves by taking in certain media for free. But for those who realize just how deep and dark that hole goes, taking responsibility and empowering yourself by empowering the independent media that you get value from is a very freeing experience. And here we call them producers, and we thank them here on the producer segment. Gonz, are you ready?
I am as ready as I will be.
Okay, there we go. Well, here's the thing. First of all, you can become a producer by heading over to patreon.com/CCNT for Canary Cry News Talk. That's patreon.com/CCNT. We have one new producer there, and I want to thank them now. That is producer Samuel L.
Thank you, Samuel L.
Thank you, Samuel L. Now, we also have patreon.com/CanaryCry.Radio. As I stated before, you're currently listening to Canary Cry News Talk. Canary Cry Radio is a show it's a different show we've been doing since 2012. You can search for that on your favorite podcast player. Go check it out. But we have a new producer over there as well, and that is producer I Am Clay now.
Oh, I thought he was upgrading.
He is, yes. Sorry. Upgrading producer. I Am Clay now.
Hey, thanks. I Am Clay now.
Yeah, thank you very much for the upgrade. Now, here's the thing. A lot of people don't like Patreon. That's okay. You don't have to like Patreon. That's why we have CanaryCryRadio.com/support. CanaryCryRadio.com/support. That's right. CanaryCryRadio.com/support is a wonderful place where you can support the show with your cryptocurrency if you're a cool crypto kid. There's also monthly producership options if you want to commit to keeping the show alive on a monthly basis. But if commitment is not your thing, you can make a one-time producership in any amount. And in addition, if you go to CanaryCryRadio.com/support, now you will see an option at the top of the page to begin supporting the show now for the year 2022 and receive a thank you gift, which is the Canary Cry calendar. Woo! So go check that out. It's a cool calendar created by producers and artists of this show. We have nothing to do with it, and we are so proud of producers such as producer Isaac and producer Epony Blaze, and of course artists, which I will have a full list later, but I do know includes Sir Dove and Dame Allie, amongst others. So you'll hear more about that later, but you can go check it out, and we can start off 2022 strong and send out some calendars. But today, Gonz, who's coming in over there?
We're going to start off. You had mentioned that we didn't have any executive or associate executive producers, but that is no longer true. At the beginning of the show. I know.
Yeah, we got our hero, Gonz.
Our hero. Dame Lynn, Lady of the Lakes.
There she is. Thank you so much. Dame Lynn, Lady of the Lakes. She is our executive producer for this episode of Canary Cry News Talk.
Where'd you find this?
Sorry, I stepped on you. You kept talking.
It's all good. She comes in with 233, which makes her one of our Illuminati handlers. Illuminatus! That's right. She sends in a note here, says, handler, Dame Lynn, Lady of the Lakes. God bless your bigger selves. Thank you very much, Dame Lynn. I get it.
Yeah,
our bigger selves
larger
in the stream. Yeah.
Yeah, maybe we it'll just be us overlapping one another. And then, you can't really see the screen with all the...
Every episode, we just get a little bit bigger until we
just googly eyes.
Take over the whole screen like a blob.
Yeah.
Thank you very much, Dame Lynn. You really rescued us on this episode. We appreciate it.
Yep. And we don't have any associate executive producers for episode 411, but we do have other producers. Mm-hmm. And the first one to thank here, Gail M.
Gail M is on a streak.
Yeah, she's on a streak.
Women rule!
That's right, 50 episodes in a row, and Gail M comes in with $50 and says, woohoo! Woo! Today is the 50th day that I helped produce CCNT. It feels great to be supporting mi chicos dolce, and what a joy it is to be a part of your ministry. XXXX. Thank you very much, Gail M., for your continued support. And that's a big deal. 50 episodes in a row. That's serious business.
It's nifty 50.
This is the Nifty 50 Jubilee Jamboree. Booyah. Booyah. Nifty 50 Jubilee. That's what it is. That's what it is, Gail M. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Gail M. Next up, we have Catherine B.
Catherine B comes in with 3388 and a note here that says John 1:5, and the light shineth in the darkness.
Darkness.
I got the King James
shineth
list.
In the darkness. That's how I read the King James when I
John
first started reading
and the light
Bible.
Shineth in the darkness.
Did you do that again?
No.
Oh.
And the light shineth in the darkness. The darkness comprehended it's not. Thank you very much, Catherine B. I think 3388 might be 3333 plus fees. I'm not sure, but it's a cool number anyways. Thank you, Catherine B, which makes her one of our Illuminati handlers.
Illuminatus!
Yeehaw.
Yeehaw. Next up, we have Arnold W.
Arnold W is back, baby, and he also comes in with 3388. Thank you very much, Arnold.
Illuminatus!
I did not see a note from Arnold.
Yeah, I didn't see one either. Next up, we have Valerie O.
Valerie O comes in with 3333, one of our Illuminati handlers. Thank you. She says, thank you for your contribution to the NWO. Love, Illuminati handler Dame Stormy.
Oh, she's a dame.
Dang it. That was my bad, Dame Stormy. Thank you very much, Dame Stormy.
I thought I had... I did do a second look.
We did do a little bit of rushing today to get ready.
Oh, hold on, though. Let me... Did we put...
What are you doing?
Dame Stormy? Oh, are we ahead of... I'm confused now. I'm trying to find Dame Stormy. Did I not list her? What
are you talking about?
It says Dame Stormy.
It is Dame Stormy.
Okay.
What is your question?
My question is I don't see her on the list of knights and dames.
Oh, well, she needs to be added on the list of knights and dames.
I know. I must have forgotten to do her specifically.
Oh, I'm sorry about that, Dame Stormy.
Yeah, so now I got to figure out which episode it was.
Okay, but we can do that later because we need to keep going here.
Yeah. Thank you, Dame Stormy. Appreciate that. Next up, we have Gabrielle G.
Yeah, I think it's Gabriel G.
Oh, Gabriel. Gabriel.
Yeah, comes in with 2211 plus fees, and he sends a couple of notes here. It goes like this. Please forgive me for mooching so long. Let's demooch him.
You've been
Congrats, Gabriel. You've been demooched. The note goes on. I wanted to donate $22.11 for this upcoming year of 2022, and I think I've been listening around 11 months. I had no idea there were so many other fringy Christians that existed. See, that's one of the benefits. Please receive this. And then second note came in. I did some slight editing to not repeat things, but it says, I believe I heard about your channel through a James Corbett interview with your friend Tim Kilkenny. Oh, yeah. What's up, Tim? I wanted to tell you guys that your show rocks. I am not talking about rocking in the way that Five Iron Frenzy did when I saw them in 10th grade, nor the way that Zayo transitioned me into the punk and metal scene in 11th grade. I have felt like such a loner and outsider for all of my adult life, living in this realm of Christianity where nobody really understands why I think I can listen to aggressive music like I do, as well as secular metal punk, while understanding from a biblical perspective how their lyrics deny a living God, Romans 1:1. I also had no idea people actually listen to Steve Quayle, Tim Alberino, Tom Horn, and all that juicy stuff. This has been very uplifting for me because I am surrounded by sheep, not aware of what the real narrative is in the world. Please pray for me to find friends and for my wife's eyes to be open to what is really going on in the world. I may have come off too strong to her, or come off too strong to her in a way that looked very conspiratorial. You dudes rock. Hopefully we can meet one day. I have attached a flyer for the new meetup I want to host in Bend, Oregon. Oh, wow. Okay, great. You got that, I'm assuming.
Yes.
Wow. Gabriel, thank you very much. And yes, happy that you have finally found a group like us here that you can vibe with. And yes, let's call the producers.
Okay.
Producers, assemble!
That's right. Around the world, producers perk their little ears up as they are summoned by the producer jingle. And yeah, we're going to be keeping producer Gabriel in our prayers to find some friends and to
his wife,
maybe some guidance in his marriage there. Of course, yes, it can always be a little weird when your husband starts talking about Nephilim and the New World Order.
The bones were buried. The giant bones.
So we certainly understand that situation.
Josephus talked about the bones.
And we'll be keeping you in prayer. Thank you very much, Gabriel.
That's a good one, though. That is, I will say that in my marriage, when I started to talk about some of this stuff, saying Josephus actually mentions the giant bones was kind of a...
Did that help?
I remember. Yes, I remember. It was a turning point of note, or at least a step in the right direction. Because most Christians have heard about Josephus and all of his first century commentary.
He's more of the sort of historically relevant, the non-biblical, but sort of famous ancient historian,
Jewish historian of the time, or maybe was it Roman? I can't remember the exact specifics, but yes, he's of that time, and
very credible as far as Jewish history goes.
Yeah, and so yes, and he does mention those the giant bones on display. But anyway, moving on here. Just a little tip for our producer there, producer Gabriel. Thank you, appreciate the producership. Next up, we have Pavel A. Am I saying that right?
No, probably not. I think of maybe Pavel.
Or Pavel. Like Ravel, but Pavel.
It could be. I'm thinking maybe Pavel. Like maybe a Eastern, some sort of Eastern name. But however we spell it or pronounce it, you can let us know. We hate to botch people's names. But thank you, producer Pavel A, coming in with 2095. And a note that says, can't wait for episode 420. Okay, you little rascal. It's going to be fire. Also, episode 432. I have something to share for that episode, so keep a lookout. Been a monthly Patreon supporter for a while. Haven't heard being thanked, so I got a little sus. Learned a new word. Thanks. Okay. I'm not sure how long you've been. We could look that up, and perhaps we will. And depends on how long you've been supporting. If you've been supporting since before February of 2020, that was sort of before we were thanking people.
Yeah.
But thank you anyways for your ongoing support. And I would love to have you send us a pronunciation of your name so we can get it right next time.
And looking forward to the special 432 thing.
432.
You have a thing that you're going to share.
He's got a thing. Yes, he's got a plan.
Next up, we have Big Tank.
Big Tank is back. What's your 20, buddy?
This is Rubber Ducky. What's your 1020, over?
Check in. We got us a convoy, over.
Coming in with 1111, and he says, happy Monday, y'all. Stay blessed, Big Tank. Thank you very much. You too, Big Tank, and it's great to hear from you again, buddy.
Good to see you, Big Tank. Next up, we have Heather Russ.
Heather Russ is on a streak.
She's on a streak.
Women rule!
26 episodes in a row, coming in with the 1001 producership.
1001.
Amen. And a note, God bless you both, praying that God moves mountains and grows this community of watchmen in order to alert the masses of this age of deceit. Yes, thank you very much, Heather Russ.
Thank you, Heather Russ.
It certainly has been God moving mountains to grow this strange thing that we do here.
Yeah.
It is only through divine intervention that anybody continues to come back to this show. Thank you, Heather Russ.
Appreciate it, Heather Russ. There's something else in there that I was going to mention. Oh, they're almost, they're going to hit the firmament next episode. So, yeah, look forward to that. Next up, we have Sir Sigra the Beast.
Sir Sigra the Beast is on a streak. 8 episodes in a row. Thanks, Sir Sigra, coming in with the 1001.
1001. Amen.
And a note. Got the booster last Friday. Woo. Okay, here we go. We got a booster report. Got the booster last Friday. Of course, for those who maybe don't know, Sigra the Beast works in the medical industry, so of course he has been mandated. Got the booster last Friday. Would really appreciate a "No one likes you" booster jingle.
You know what? Nobody likes you, booster.
On the plus side, I was one of the only few who didn't feel like crap the next day. Ooh. Just like when I got my second dose back in January, God is looking out for me.
You must have gotten those saline shots, you know? You won the game.
I wonder if you're in the medical industry, if you could, you know, you just gotta know the right nurses to get you that saline shot.
Yeah, I've thought about that too. Just, you know, under the table, a little $100 slip, you know, like, hey,
I don't know.
Get me the one that's labeled PLACEBO.
Just bake the nurse a cake, and that'll get you there. Okay, thank you very much, Sir Sigra the Beast.
Yep, thank you for that. Next up, we have Scott K.
Scott K is on a streak.
He is on a super streak.
73 episodes in a row. Thank you very much, Scott K. And he comes in with 1001.
1001. Amen.
And Gonz, I'm here to interrupt our current list for the man who made it just under.
Oh,
he made it. We were wondering.
Yeah.
But just coming in here, we have Sir Casey the Shield Knight.
Keeping that streak alive.
Yes, Sir Casey. I'm going to have to do a little bit of scrolling to find exactly what you're streaking. If you could update the list for me, Gonz. Sir Casey is on an 83 episode streak. Holy moly. Woo! Okay, you made it. Thank you very much, Sir Casey.
Okay, hold on. Let me just get this going here. All right, next up we have Jackie U.
Jackie U. Sorry, I was looking at our email. Jackie U is on a streak.
Yeah, she's on a streak.
Women rule!
3 episodes in a row, which means Jackie U is heating up, baby.
He's heating up!
Coming in with 7s and fees. And a note, have a good week, everyone. Remember, we are children of the Most High, the only one. Nope, the Holy One. I'm reminding myself as well. We get caught in work and family, and quickly flesh takes over. Fight the good fight. Hugs to everyone. Seriously, I would hug everyone. Thank you very much, Jackie.
Thank you, Jackie. Appreciate it. All right, next up we have Morv.
Morv! In town, and he's on a streak. 22 episodes in a row and a pocket full of 7s. Thank you, Morv.
Thank you, Morv. Next up, Sir Salmons, the Knight of the Fishes.
That's right. Sir Salmons is on a streak. 27 episodes in a row, which means Sir Salmon's busting that firmament.
I know we have still not shattered that highest and hardest glass ceiling, but someday someone will.
You gotta get some trap music behind that.
I
know. Pocket full of 7s. Thank you, Sir Salmons. And a note, beep, beep, boop, boop. It's Monday. Hope y'all have a good one, even though things are whack. Many blessings from the fishes. Things are whack, Sir Salmons. Thank you very much.
Yeah. I'm just picturing, you know, all of us wake up, look at the phone or look at whatever source for news or what's happening, and it's just,
things are
madness. Whack. Things are whack. Get out of here. I wonder what Hillary Clinton's doing nowadays. Is she just waiting? Is she still ruling from her underground throne?
No, she's just buying NFTs in the metaverse, baby. Huge NFT fan.
Oh no, what if she says she has like a Bored Ape or something? Oh no, it'll be over. The whole NFT world would crumble. Okay.
Yeah, right.
Next, it would explode. Next up, we have JC.
JC is on a streak. 36 episodes in a row and coming in with 7s and fees. And a note, God bless you both, praying that God moves mountains and grows his community of watchmen in order to alert the masses of this age of the seed.
Sounds like a very familiar note, Basil.
Wait a second.
This note reads exactly as Heather Russ said.
Hold on. I'm sorry.
Did you have a copy-paste error?
It must have been a copy-paste error.
Okay.
I'm hopping over to JC's actual thing here. Wait a second. No, this is JC's note.
You just doxed
Hold on.
everybody
What was
today.
Heather Russ's note?
Yeah, what was Heather Russ's note?
Hold on. Oh, my gosh. This has been a crazy day, guys.
Yeah.
Oh, gosh. Okay. Hold on. Sorry. Gonz. Entertain everybody for a second.
While you do that, I will mention that my wife and I, for the first time, actually we did it one time before, but we led worship at our small little church, which was not good. Not good, folks. It did not turn out that great. But what's funny was the way our church does stuff, there's like a whole moment or time of the service where they do communion, and there's a girl that sings at the church. Fantastic singer. She's very, very good. Mm-hmm. Like one of those girls where you think, I don't think they talk. I think they just sing. You know, I've never heard her talk. I've only heard her sing. It's a weird thing. But anyway, so she was singing, and I thought, wow, this is very unfair, because she's doing a song, and then me, my wife, especially me, I have to get up there and I got to do a song and sing in front of everybody. This is not fair. Okay. But while she was singing, they have this jar, this big glass jar where everybody puts their little wine cup thing in, because pandemic, so it's
a trash jar.
Yeah, a little trash jar. It fell off the table and shattered on the ground, and just it was chaos ensued, and everybody was trying to clean it, and nobody was paying attention to the poor girl with an amazing voice singing. And I thought, this is fantastic. They will all be distracted by the glass. They won't put together that we are that I am just an awful singer, and I'm up there trying to lead.
Sinister, Gonzo. Sinister.
And the whole message was about the end times and apocalypse and all that. And I was like, wow, how apropos that I would be leading worship at this church. Just filling in, folks.
Sounds
just
like
filling
almost
in.
like they planned it.
Yeah.
All right. I did find Heather Russ's real note.
Okay, yes. Let's
and
make
their
that right.
real note read, vaccinations. What a strange mix-up. I'm sorry.
They're probably thinking, what? Who said what now? They're probably looking at their own note to make sure.
Well, yeah, okay.
All right,
so there you go. Thank you very much, Heather Russ. Oh,
that's for Heather Russ. Okay.
Do it again.
Vaccination.
There you go. Hopefully that makes up for it. Okay, holy smokes. We're back on track. Thank you. Thank you, JC. All right, and here are the remaining producers who came in under 777, starting with producer Veronica D, who is on a streak.
Yeah, she's on a streak.
Women rule!
49 episodes in a row. She's almost made it to Nifty 50.
All right.
Next up, we have 57 Chevy Girl, who is on a streak.
Yeah, she's on a streak.
Women rule!
7 episodes in a row. Next, we have producer Amanda P, who is also on a streak.
Yeah, she's on a streak.
Women rule!
She's either on 2 or 3. Oh, gosh. This was a crazy day getting things ready, folks. I apologize. Let's call it 3. Okay. I'm just gonna wait. Scrolling. No. 1.
She's probably
7.
at I was gonna say she's
probably
on
7.
Yeah.
Yeah. Weird. Amanda P, I think we've been messing up your streak for the past couple episodes. You are on a 7-episode streak, and which means we missed her on fire moment. Give her on fire. He's on fire! And actually, that would have... Yeah, okay. Thank you very much, Amanda P. Next up, we have producer Runk Smash, who's on a streak. 35 episodes in a row. Next up, we have producer Dr. Who Done Dat, who is also on a streak.
Thank you, Dr. Who Done Dat.
21 episodes in a row, which means he gets the 21 gun salute. Thank you very much,
Yeehaw.
Dr. Who Done Dat. Just for clarification on your story, Gonz, did the jar break because of your singing? Did you just hit that high C and it just shattered?
No.
Did it fall?
And there was a guy that was putting it in there, and he was a little too hasty trying to get his hand out, and he like knocked it over, and it fell over and shattered.
That's embarrassing for that man.
Yeah.
Oh goodness, that's my worst nightmare. All right. Next up, we have Child of God, who keeps the streak going, baby. 18 episodes in a row, which is something.
Supernova.
This is Charlie, November Tango. You are approaching supernova. Repeat, you are approaching supernova.
That's right. You've gone past Rocket Man, and you're in supernova territory, Child of God. Thank you. Lastly, but not leastly, we have producer Ciara, who's on the street.
Yeah, she's on the street.
Women rule!
45 episodes in a row.
Wow.
Yes, and I do believe that concludes our treasure producers today. We're so grateful for everybody, but we have another exciting thing happening, Gonz. We've got a daming to do.
Oh, a naming.
Yes. And for those who don't know, the Canary Cry Roundtable of Knights and Dames is a very special elite group of producer commandos who have supported the show in the amount of $1,000 or more, either at once or over any period of time. And that's a good call for you producers out there who have been producing for a while. You can do your own accounting, keep track. Let us know when you've reached that marker, because you are entitled to join us at the roundtable. That's the Canary Cry Roundtable of Knights and Dames. And one of our longtime and generous producers, he produces in many different ways, not just with his treasure, but also with his time and his talent. You know him, you love him. It's Mr. Marty B. Has reached the level for knighting and or daming. And producer Marty B. has credited his knighthood to his wife, Melissa B., who is going to be damed right now. Gonz, hit that funky track.
What track? What are you talking about?
The knighthood track. Come on,
you can't knight anybody without our swords out.
Yeah,
Come on.
You know, I practiced this whole thing, and I forgot we had to take out our knighting instruments. Okay, here you go.
All right. Now here's my katana here.
Okay, we want to call up Melissa B. Please step forward to the Canary Cry Roundtable of Knights and Dames, where we have a seat for you. Thanks to your generous support in the amount of $1,000 or more, we are proud to pronounce you Dame Melissa of the Roses. Please join us here at the round table, where we have the belt of truthful truthiness, the breastplate of righteous righteousness, the custom-fit Birkenstocks to carry forth the gospel of peace, the shield of ferocious faith, the helmet of substantiating salvation, the supernatural sword of the Spirit, and of course, adorable samurai babies, infinitely cute kitties for cuddling. And if you're hungry, we have fancy beast wet food, carved Cosmo the CRISPR cow, of course, fried wormicorns. Welcome to the Canary Cry Roundtable of Knights and Dames, Dame Melissa of the Roses. And the crowd goes wild! Woo! That's right. Thank you very much. We are honored to have you at the roundtable, Melissa B. and Marty B. You're an honorable man. And look at that, ladies. Marty B. lifting up his wife to the round table while he stays down with the lowly minstrels, the court musicians. Very honorable. Thank you very much. Yes, and those in the chat, remember to thank all your producers today, but of course, congratulate Dame Melissa of the Roses. We appreciate it. And Gonz, anything else for this break?
I think that's it. Oh my gosh, we're so large on the screen. It's ridiculous.
Let's thank everybody for their patronage and then wake on up.
I forgot about that too. All right, hold on. Give me a second
sad,
here.
Guys. He's so sad
Shut up
about
and take my money.
Thank you for your patronage. Thank you for your patronage. Thank you for your patronage.
Is that better?
That was better than nothing.
Yes, it's wake-up time.
Hey, yo, wake up.
It's Latin for many. Tick. Now suck your blood. Now politics. Your blood.
We will launch a new age.
It's a new age for Trump because he is selling his hotel. This is NPR.org. Trump's controversial hotel in D.C. will reportedly be sold and renamed. And, given some of his social media moves right now and potentially, having to spend some money in court or whatever is going to happen, this might be funding that. Former President Donald Trump's company has agreed to sell its Trump International Hotel operation. Oh, I'm getting all stuffed up. In Washington, D.C., according to multiple sources, the deal is said to be worth $375 million and will result in the Trump name being removed from the landmark property that stands close to the White House. The hotel's lease is being bought by Miami-based investment firm CGI Merchant Group, according to the Wall Street Journal, which says the company is working with another hotel chain, Hilton Worldwide Holdings. In its new iteration, Trump's name will be replaced by the Waldorf Astoria brand on the massive historic property, which has previously been both a post office and an office building. It's just not much of an angle just to say that, Trump's shifting things around and selling some property, which, I don't know. There's always speculations about what the real agenda is when it comes to Trump selling property. Why do you need the money? You should.
There's a bit of an angle here.
Okay.
Which is, if he's going to run in 2024, that hotel gave him nothing but trouble.
True.
During his past presidency, it was constantly hounded for, improper use.
Right.
He was renting rooms to Saudi princes and all this kind of crazy stuff.
Yeah.
Yes, and it's proximity to the White House. And the prices that were being paid or not paid by foreign, diplomats or nationals or whatever was always a concern for, conflict of interest reasons. So I don't know. There is a world in which when Donald Trump runs in 2024, if he runs, when he runs, he hopefully will have learned some lessons from the first time around. And, it could be him sort of getting rid of some of these political liabilities like the hotel. But yeah, other than that, I don't think there is too much more to look into, at least yet. I would love to, if anybody's got any theories,
I got a theory.
Interested. Okay.
He doesn't have any property in the metaverse yet. So he sold some actual physical property, and he's moving it. He's going to have his own meta. He's not going to make it if he doesn't have a metaverse. There's going to be a Trump-verse.
Trump Tower in Decentraland, or just make his own metaverse.
Just his own metaverse. It'll be the Trump-verse. Yeah.
And this is not a metaverse segment, but it is an interesting conversation with the metaverse because, think about the siloing, the information bubbles that we already deal with right now. When there's a metaverse version of that, where it's not only are you just on, pro-Trump or pro-Biden or whatever Facebook pages, but you are literally living in a digital world completely built and dedicated to an individual.
Talk about a worshiping an image.
Yeah,
situation.
It cranks that knob up to 11 for sure.
Well, yeah, the whole concept of traveling to worship is is different in the metaverse. You don't have to travel physically.
Mm-hmm.
I've talked about that for
your pilgrimage just takes you, just a click away.
Right.
All right, I got this little update. This is also coming from NPR.org here. The headline, Steve Bannon threatens vengeance.
Oh,
Ooh.
They changed the headline from when I was...
Yep. What does it say for you?
Steve Bannon has turned himself in on criminal contempt charges.
Listen to the difference, folks. This is an update that happened within hours where it was just, a news story about Steve Bannon turning himself in. And they've changed it now to Steve Bannon threatens vengeance after surrendering on criminal contempt charges. Ooh,
that is
it's like they had to get the news story out there, and then they had to have the spin doctors come in.
Yeah, there's like it's not
polish it up
enough,
a little bit. Yeah. Reads like this. Steve Bannon, former President Donald Trump's one-time top advisor, who was indicted last week for defying a congressional subpoena related to the January 6th Capitol riot, surrendered to federal authorities and appeared in court on Monday. Bannon turned himself in at the FBI's Washington field office and addressed his supporters in brief remarks live-streamed on Getter.
Getter.
Wow, I forgot about Getter.
Getter, the conservative honeypot.
Yes, yeah. The social media platform popular with Trump allies. Quote, I don't want anybody to take their eye off the ball of what we do every day, Bannon said directly into the camera. We've got the Hispanics coming on our side, African Americans coming on our side. We're taking down the Biden regime. Quote, I want you guys to stay focused, stay on message, he added. Remember, signal, not noise. He later made a brief court appearance in federal magistrate court and is expected to return to court and arraigned Thursday. A federal grand jury indicted Bannon last week on 2 counts, one for failing to appear for a deposition with the White House committee and one for failing to produce documents in response to its subpoena. Each count carries a minimum of 30 days in jail and a maximum of 1 year, as well as a fine ranging from $100 to $1,000. Prosecutors in the U.S. Attorney's Office for District of Columbia will oversee the criminal case. Talking to reporters after his court appearance, Bannon chalked the charges up to little more than a political witch hunt overseen by his political opponents. Quote, I'm telling you right now, this is going to be the misdemeanor from hell for Merrick Garland, Nancy Pelosi, and Joe Biden, he said alongside his defense attorney, David Schoen, who is perhaps best known for his representation of former President Trump during Trump's second impeachment trial. Quote, Joe Biden ordered Merrick Garland to prosecute me from the White House lawn when he got off Marine One, Bannon said without offering evidence. Without offering evidence? Thanks, NPR. Quote, and we're going to go on the offense. We're tired of playing defense. We're going on the offense on this. Bannon was a private citizen at the time of the insurrection, having left the Trump administration in 2017, but he remained in Trump's orbit, and the congressional committee believes he has useful information about the events of January 6th. For instance, it sought information about a meeting he attended with Trump allies at a Washington hotel the previous evening.
Oh, please.
Bannon, what?
No, it's just the fact that he was at some event, the night before January 6th, it has some ties to this grand conspiracy to take over the Capitol. Come on, this is ridiculous.
Right. Yeah. Yeah, the night before a giant Trump rally, you don't think Bannon, who has a very largely listened to podcast, The War Room, and like internet show, his whole job is to have boots on the ground at things like Trump rallies. You think that's suspicious?
He was there. So were a lot of other people.
Were 50,000 other people. Bannon had argued that he was covered by an assertion of executive privilege, though legal experts say that claim falls short for 2 reasons. He was not in Trump's administration at the time, and Biden, the current president, has waived privilege on matters before the House committee. NPR Justice correspondent Ryan Lucas told Weekend Edition Saturday that contempt charges against Bannon could persuade other Trump-era officials to comply with their subpoenas from the committee. For instance, Mark Meadows, Trump's former chief of staff, missed a deadline to answer the panel's questions on Friday. The committee said in response that it is considering a similar contempt of Congress referral for him as well. I think it's funny that NPR is trying to make a case that this will spook all these Trump supporters into giving up the ghost on Trump and selling out their GOP allies.
Give us the Russian connection.
Yeah, right.
We will uncover it. We are NPR.
This is essentially a sort of benign inconvenience that they've imposed on Bannon here, but it has done enough to sort of, poke the bear where he's at least, trying to come out looking strong in the situation. It is interesting, though. Why? It's just part of his game that he plays is the thing. You got to remember, he's a public figure. And things like being brought in for contempt of Congress actually sort of bolsters his brand a bit,
Yeah.
Being sort of non-compliant with the investigation or not just not doing what the government tells him to do is very good for the sort of Trump Republican brand for Bannon. So, it's all kind of a show in my book. And it's funny how NPR makes it sound so serious. It's really rather benign.
It was the whole ramping up. I remember 3 or 4 years ago, Alex Jones was ramping up the idea of lawfare. Like, we're going to enter an era of lawfare. Like, it's not going to just be mind control. It's going to, they're going to try to come after us legally, and we're going to have to all go to court and, fight it with the Constitution in hand and all that kind of stuff. And sort of playing into that whole script with all this. So, very interesting. Although, I don't know. It just seems like you're right. It's like on brand for him to get in trouble and then pay his way out, and then he's got
Bannon
more fuel.
Was never going to just simply comply with a subpoena for being in a hotel next to the Trump rally.
Didn't he make some money deal with a really rich Chinese guy too, like some Chinese billionaire? Isn't he like funding the whole Bannon enterprise? I forget, but anyway,
I don't actually recall.
All right, well, moving on here. Cron.com. Elon Musk slams Bernie Sanders on Twitter. I forgot you were still alive.
Slammed. Oh, I did
Elon
see this.
Musk.
This is pretty funny. Yeah, so this was a tweet from Bernie Sanders where he said, "We must demand that the extremely wealthy pay their fair share, period." And Elon Musk replied, "I keep forgetting that you're still alive."
Bernie Sanders, 264,000 likes and 21,000 retweets on this. And then Elon comes in at 284,000 likes and 30,000 retweets or quotes.
Yeah.
And then Elon goes on here and says, "What? Want me to sell more stock, Bernie? Just say the word." Which is the whole thing about Elon taking votes on Twitter to how much of his stock he should sell, which is like, okay, what is going on here?
This is a very interesting stunt. And, with his $6 billion that he sold to give to the government, it's kind of funny because it ended up he owed like billions in taxes anyways.
Yeah.
So this was sort of just a way for him to pay taxes, but also make it.
He sold around $6.9 billion.
I think he owed somewhere around that much.
Yeah, but also I think it's funny that they would do the 6 and the 9 because it's part of his meme. I
mean, that's him. Yeah, for sure. That's him being a funny guy.
Yeah. Okay, so it says here Elon Musk is back at it on Twitter, except this time the target of his snarky comments and not so subtle insults isn't fellow billionaire Jeff Bezos. In fact, the Tesla CEO took to the social media platform to fire away at quite a seemingly random new public enemy, Senator and former presidential candidate Bernie Sanders. The Twitter rift started with a tweet that Sanders posted on Saturday. We went through all that, so we don't have to do it again here. And it said down here, by only owning stock in Tesla and not... Oh my gosh, I am so stuffed up right now.
You've turned into like full-on sort of... It's actually kind of cute, Gonz.
I don't like that. I don't like that it's cute. It's not... Especially coming from you. I don't like it.
Hey, look, I tells it how I sees it, Gonz.
Okay. By only owning stock in Tesla and not taking an annual cash salary or bonus, Musk does not have to pay personal taxes on his shares unless he sells them. Clearly, Sanders' quip struck a nerve with Musk. Keep forgetting you're alive, blah, blah, blah. Musk has long opposed these proposals, including the billionaire's income tax that was proposed by Democrat senior Ron Wyden. I can't talk anymore. I get all stuffed up. Oh my gosh, this is ridiculous.
It's almost, you sound almost like as if you were doing a character on TV.
Yeah.
Like pretend like you're acting like your nose is stuffed, because it is very pronounced, Gonz.
Yeah, sorry. Yeah, I apologize. I don't know that I can make it through this article. The federal judge...
I can pick it up where you left off.
I don't remember very well. No, I think I'll be okay.
All right.
Sanders, who's the chair of the Senate Budget Committee, has proposed several policies that would tax the country's wealthiest, most notably the top 0.1%, which would include Musk, Bezos, and other billionaires. Musk has long opposed these proposals, including the billionaire's income tax that was proposed by Democrat Senator Ron Wyden in an effort to tax U.S. billionaires and on their investments. Musk continued to troll Twitter by responding to some of his followers' commentary on the interaction and on Sanders. Quote, the federal budget deficit is $2.7 trillion, one user wrote while tagging Musk. Quote, the pay your fair share kind of, or pay your fair share thing is kind of a distraction because you can't find $2.7 trillion in revenue just from taxing billionaires. Exactly, the Tesla CEO responded. He also called Sanders a taker, not a maker, and responded a thumbs up emoji to one follower who suggested that Sanders send an, quote, itemized list to Musk and other Americans that explains where the allocated tax money that's being proposed would go. Musk's estimate net worth is $271.5 billion as of Monday morning. So, you know, it's interesting. We've been talking about this theme of transparency and the traditional infrastructure of the economy and everything else. It seems like Elon has literally been deployed to at least shine a light on that whole aspect of the transparency of the institutions, because that was his whole thing.
Bringing it to the sort of absurd conclusion of that line of thinking. You know?
Yeah,
like,
exactly.
Oh, you want billionaires to be transparent? Fine, here I go. See how this works out. Because, of course, when he takes these polls about selling stock, it's kind of funny, but it also has very serious ramifications for the stock market.
Yeah,
like,
I know. That's what I'm saying. He's being pretty... I mean, he's always been kind of reckless with his Twitter stuff.
Teetering.
But...
It's teetering on like SEC violations.
Yeah, complete. Yeah, he can totally. You know, I think we've learned in the last year and a half that if Elon wanted to, he could completely flip markets with tweets. You know, just the power of the man. I mean, some people say, he lost his...
He certainly can have effect, and he has. He's proven that he can.
Yeah. I mean, if he told the world, hey, traditional markets... You know, get out of your traditional market, go into crypto. Wouldn't a bunch of people do it? Like if he specifically said that.
I mean, he's done like that exact thing.
No, I know, but I'm saying like a very explicit, hey, it's the ship's sinking, it's really going down.
Yeah, no, I'm agreeing with you.
I think they're grooming him to be that guy, though.
And people would listen, and he hasn't been so explicit, and people still have done it.
Well, I know.
Just through his like cute little, poking the bear type of tweets. But yeah, I think it is interesting, bringing up the transparency issue, because the transparent hypocrisy, that was a theme of a few episodes a while back. Because usually these types of things, like, hey, Bernie, you want me to sell $6 billion in stock or whatever? These conversations do happen all the time, just in sort of the smoky back rooms.
Right.
And when it comes to sort of moving markets and sending signals and things like that, this happens all the time. I mean, just ask Nancy Pelosi or anybody in Congress who's allowed to do this sort of thing legally and benefit from it, especially when it comes to different laws and things being passed or being talked about that could affect the markets. He's just doing it out in the open. He's just doing exactly what everybody does. He's just doing it on Twitter, which makes people pretty mad. But that, again, that's also in a way what Trump would do. Yeah. You know, it's not like other politicians weren't total a-holes and like, you know, really uncaring, unfeeling.
That didn't exist until Trump. Come on.
Uncaring, unfeeling lizard people who don't give one they don't give a second thought or even a first thought to the normal working man. But, you know, you don't say that on Twitter. We do that in our secret lizard people lair. But Trump came out and did it on Twitter, and Elon's kind of doing the same thing, just with the business financial markets. So, yeah, whatever. Good for him. It's exciting. But, the markets being on the sort of, again, teetering on the edge as they are, it's almost like bringing the chaos of the crypto markets into the traditional stock market.
I've been seeing that a lot, especially with the volatility. Mm-hmm. If you look at crypto, their whole thing is like volatility. Goes up. Yeah. One day you can be down thousands. And that kind of behavior we started seeing in the stock market, you know, with earlier this year with all the GMC, GMC, what was it? GameStop.
GameStop and AMC.
Thank you, AMC. All that stuff, and seeing how the traditional markets, because usually traditional markets, it was really boring and it would move like 0.5% was a big deal and whatever. And then crypto comes along, everything's volatile. And yeah, it just seems like that volatility is moving in as the crypto markets merge with the traditional markets. And that's its own kind of deal there. But Elon riding the waves, stirring things up.
Riding the waves and making the waves.
And making the waves, yep.
All right. Well, we had this was a breaking story that came out this morning or last night.
I think it was today. Yeah,
it was today. I mean, yeah. Well, there you go. Yeah, sometime today. We've got headlines coming from Huffington Post.
Yeah, HuffPo UK.
Yes. HuffingtonPost.co.uk. The headline says Boris Johnson holds emergency Cobra meeting over Liverpool terror attack. And it reads like this. The Prime Minister will hold an emergency Cobra meeting today following the terror attack in Liverpool. Boris Johnson will convene the meeting with security chiefs at 12:45 p.m. to discuss the explosion outside Liverpool Women's Hospital on Remembrance Sunday. The PM's, Prime Minister's spokesman, said his thoughts, quote, remain with all those affected by the awful incident as he thanked the emergency services for their quick response. Comes after a taxi exploded just before 11 a.m. at a drop-off zone near the hospital entrance, killing the passenger and injuring the driver. Cab driver David Perry has been hailed a hero after he apparently locked the taxi doors just before the bomb went off inside his car. Johnson said earlier today, quote, this is an ongoing investigation, so I can't comment on the details or exactly what type of incident it was, what type of crime it may have been, quote, but it does look as though the taxi driver in question did behave with incredible presence of mind and bravery. The city's mayor, Joanne Anderson, told BBC Radio 4's Today program, quote, the taxi driver in his heroic efforts has managed to divert what could have been an absolutely awful disaster at the hospital. The explosion has been declared a terrorist attack, but police said the motive is unclear. Assistant Chief Constable Russ Jackson from the Counterterrorism Northwest said the man who died in the blast brought a homemade bomb with him into a taxi and asked to be taken to Liverpool Women's Hospital. 4 men have been arrested under terrorism laws in the Kennington area of Liverpool. 3 aged 21, 26, and 29 who were held Sunday, and a man aged 20 who was detained on Monday. this is breaking news story and will be updated. Yeah, so the big old, I guess this happened, this happened Sunday. Pretty interesting that it would happen at all, but it also is very centered on this heroic taxi driver man who somehow got out of the car and locked the doors, locking the terrorist inside as he was setting off the bomb.
Yeah, I don't know.
Kind of would love to see an actual breakdown of how that timeline works out. What did he look in the rearview mirror, see the guy open his jacket and start pressing buttons on a bomb vest?
Yeah, with the countdown in the movies.
Yeah, the countdown is set for 3 seconds, so he jumps out, locks the doors. But how does that work? How does the timeline on that work?
Well, he probably has some superpowers that can't release the way he was able to escape. He was able to slow down time or something,
Sure. It's interesting because, if somebody locks the doors in a car, especially a taxi, you should just be able to unlock it and get out.
Depending on the taxi cab, sometimes maybe in the back.
I don't think that would be a very legal thing. That would be a pretty sketchy taxi to take, Gonz, if the taxi driver could just lock the door and lock you in and leave you. That's a recipe for a serial kidnapping spree. Pretty sure there has to be laws against that.
Sure. I'm more interested in what the Cobra thing is. So the Cobra is government's crisis response meetings and their cabinet office briefing rooms, COB, and it's in briefing room A, so Cobra. Wow, that is very uninspiring.
It's a cool name.
It sounds
Cobra.
Cooler than it is. It's
Cobra meeting now.
Yeah, I'm sure Boris Johnson leaned into that. But just a committee that declared this a terrorist attack. Yes, is that part of what they did?
Yeah, that's the thing.
Okay, great. I'm sure there's no political agenda there.
Well, and they made 4 arrests.
Yeah.
Again, how do you? I'm sure. Look, I'm speaking obviously as a non-professional terrorism investigator, but if the guy blows up, presumably his cell phone blows up also. How did they find 4 other people? I don't know. It's just weird, man. There's some weird things, and again, our skepticism comes from living in the United States, where infamously our intelligence agencies make a habit of radicalizing young men, equipping them, and convincing them to go commit terrorist acts so they can, do something about it.
Right.
And because they're so involved in the process from start to finish, the FBI has all the evidence they need before the thing even happens.
Yeah.
And so again, I'm thinking, okay, so somehow the taxi driver got out of the car, locked him in again, whatever. Okay, sure. Blows up. How do you connect 4 other people to this guy? What else? What would there be to connect? I'm assuming if you get a cell phone, you can check their messages.
That's why I think this is some kind of supernatural thing that they're not telling us about, like an X-Men type deal.
Because you're digging your heels in on the super villain storyline.
I don't know.
Huh?
It's as good as any potential thing. Maybe the RampDown documents leaked and they're like, hey, we need to do something to maintain control,
well, the
release
timing
the
of
terrorists.
The timing of it certainly does match up with a distraction story.
Yeah.
Because your anti-COVID documents leak and we need to create a distraction, or just let's hope something else happens that distracts everybody so they're more worried about terrorist attacks versus policy changes in the government. It's a classic move. And I don't know. And maybe it's part of a pivot this funding pivot that they were talking about. Take away the funding or divert funding from all the COVID restrictions and divert them over to anti-terrorism law enforcement.
Yeah, well, once they get the narrative right to put out there, they will. He was an eco-terrorist and he, whatever.
Well, first they need to put out that he was an unvaccinated terrorist.
Oh, unvaccinated eco-terrorist warrior Christian. Yeah.
Christian.
Just tag that on there. It's the UK. They got a problem with the Christians over there.
Well, we'll definitely stay up on the story. Should have some pretty interesting details. We'll see what happens.
Yeah. All right, we got a quick Newsom science update here.
Newsom science, baby! Ha!
All right, we were talking about where's Newsom last couple days, or a couple episodes, I guess. This is AP News. Video of California governor was manipulated to suggest vaccine reaction. I didn't even know this video existed until this article. Claim video shows California Governor Gavin Newsom developed Bell's palsy after receiving a COVID-19 vaccine booster shot. AP's assessment, false. The video is manipulated to make it appear that the left side of Newsom's face is drooping. The original unedited video is posted on Newsom's official Twitter account, and the distortion is not there.
Yeah. Did you see this video as it was making the rounds?
I did not as it was making the rounds, but I did see it after. Like I said, I didn't know that this was even a thing until the story. The video I'm playing, for those of you watching, I mean, there's no point to play the audio, really.
No. So this is a debunker bunker adjacent.
Okay.
Because I think there's a good lesson to be learned here for everybody. And that, are you trying to find a jingle or something?
No.
Okay, sorry. You made a noise. It made me think.
I'm showing the Gavin speaking with this little anomaly.
The video in question here is just Gavin sitting in front of some flags. He's looking extra chipper, and he's, just sort of jollily giving some sort of speech. And of course, this was after his disappearance from getting his booster shot. And it's a low resolution video, and it's depicting one side of his face, like his mouth is super stretched out, straight out towards his cheek.
He looks like the Joker.
A little bit of a Joker look. And his eyeball, his left eyeball, is sort of droopy and closed. Now, this is just a bit of like media literacy practice for everybody, because, I don't want to, we're not here to shame anybody who maybe thought that this was real, but this is a perfect video to sort of practice on things, what to look out for. Because I do know that a lot of people kind of thought it was real, and a lot of that comes from us wanting it to be real. Because yes, of course, that would have been perfectly delectable if he disappeared for 11 days after getting a booster, and there was all this hullabaloo about no, it's not the booster, he's just taking some time off for his family, and then he comes back with Bell's palsy. But some things to look out for. Number one, low resolution videos. If you see a video of someone in the government or even in a corporation or anything like that, if it's low resolution, that means somebody's been messing with it, because the government doesn't put out any videos at low resolution. The only way it could become so resolution is if somebody did it on purpose. And why would they do that? They would do that to hide any of the obvious clues that it was tampered with. So that's just right off the bat. I see, I was even a little suspicious of the Dr. Carrie Madej video, because it was a bit low resolution.
Yeah.
But that wasn't, there was nothing visually in that thing that would have been tampered with. Maybe they did some like AI, voice manipulation or something. Who knows?
Sure.
But so back to this Newsom video. Part of his mouth is all stretched out, straight out to the side. Those with Bell's palsy, their cheeks don't get stretched out like the Joker. And you can also see when he opens his mouth, his teeth are also stretched out.
Right.
Which is not a symptom of Bell's palsy.
Yeah.
So these are things you just got to look a little carefully at. And that's another reason for the low resolution, because when it's low resolution, it's harder to see these weird inconsistencies and imperfections.
Right. And let me just for an example here, I'm going to pull up Photoshop. And I have a picture of Gavin Newsom here. For those of you just listening, it's a photo of him. And I'm in the Photoshop app here. And I have the smudge tool turned on. And I'm going to smudge his mouth just a little bit, and I'm going to move his eyeballs. I mean, these are things that you could do fairly easily. And what you'll notice, though, is when you start messing with the pixelation, it gets a little bit, the less clear. And so the low resolution helps sort of cover up some of the smudging that takes place when they do stuff like this. So very easy to do if you have Photoshop or some other, software to do this type of thing. And so those are
two great little clues. And then thirdly, if you're really, if something is low resolution and has some like really bizarre thing in it that you really want to believe is true, just go ahead and go to that person's YouTube page, because more often than not, it's just their most recent video.
Somebody just took and tampered it. And the possibility of this being part of the whole misdirection is, like Newsom's crew, somebody in Newsom's team, like, oh, I don't know what I'll do. I'll make a video, just to take him off the trail of like, hey, what's Newsom been up to? And
little false flag,
little
controlled opposition, false flag.
Yeah, and then they can debunk it, and he can say, "Oh, see, look, I didn't have any issues after the booster," and all that kind of thing.
Mm-hmm. It does create again sort of a cardboard soldier for the establishment to tear down and further categorize people who are vaccine hesitant or just don't like Newsom.
Right. There was some claims made. There's a Substack by Steve Kirsch. I found this interesting, and like anything, it's tough to verify 100% here, but it says the headline: Gavin Newsom was out of sight likely because he had Bell's palsy from his booster shot. And likely, like the term, and, likely. And his it's funny because his evidence is like, this guy tweeted at me, and here's what he said. This guy that tweeted at him: Steve, he 100% did. I know someone who had meeting with him canceled, and knows multiple doctors who were treating him and in and out of his place daily over a week. And his wife went ballistic about an affair she caught him in. Different subject for different day. And then, him liking the post, like, oh, yes, this is what I'm hearing as well. So, I mean, okay, like, whatever, maybe. And I wouldn't be surprised whatsoever if that is the case. But, I don't know. It's just so interesting how these opportunities are there for anybody to start making claims about stuff. And I guess we live in this world. I mean, it's gotten worse and worse, it seems like, with all the... because during Trump, it was fake news. And now it's like, okay, the people debunking... we all know the people trying to debunk all the fake news is probably the people perpetuating fake and false information. And now there's a teardown of trust of the old traditional media, and nobody's really paying attention. It's all crumbling, and so we're starting to see the rise of alternative media becoming mainstream in their own way, and it's all happening on the internet, and it's all different now. And so, hey, some guy has a Substack, must be telling the truth, or must be putting the dots together or whatever. And it's kind of like, well, we'll see. He also posts like a text message that he got, and stuff like that. So a lot of it is
the trap of the alternative trust,
Yes.
And it's part of it. It very well could be part of sort of a disinfo, false flag type of thing, because people are trusting, narrative questioning alt media so much. That's
a great opportunity.
It's very much in the corporate media's interest to create opportunities to discredit them. And, the thing is with the alt media thing, it's it's difficult because a lot of times you partake in an individual outlet for, a long time, and perhaps there's nothing that really sends up any big red flags. Maybe they hold the same opinions that you do about something, or they they're in the same milieu or support the same people, whatever. And it's kind of feels good to find an outlet,
a community
that agrees with you. Right. Yeah. And this goes for us too.
Yeah,
I mean, the standards I am about to lay out for you, you should also apply to us. And the point is, if you start seeing weird things like obviously pushing something fake, or not, well, that's the first one. If there's something that they push and you just kind of are not sure about it, and you go do some research and it turns out to obviously not be the case, one tends to give a slide or two to that. But if it becomes a habit where there's just so many things that you have to be kind of like, no, that's just simply not true, why does this person continue to push that? Then, it's unfortunate because you enjoy their material so much, but it really does send up a red flag that you need to pay attention to everything they're saying. For instance, that is why we give out all of our sources. You can have access to every source that we have, and we tend to rely on publicly available documents from not from like a reporter or something, but from the source of which the documents are coming, such as the CDC when they have a document, or the German bank that reported Evergrande, which is a document put out by them reporting the default that the New York Times didn't even include, stuff like that. And where else was I going with this? Oh, I'm just saying, and that's why we do those things, is because if there's something that you don't quite follow or you don't quite believe, that just doesn't feel right, for instance, that we are reporting, we make all of our sources available to you to go check it out for yourself. A lot of times, alt media doesn't make any sources available at all. It'll just be like a blog post. They'll call it an article, but it's just a post that says a bunch of crazy stuff that sounds fun and good and sounds like something you would want to be true, but not a single outside source is brought in. They might name somebody, a doctor said this, a reporter said this, a politician said this, but if they're not giving you the sources to that information, you don't actually know if it's true or not. You got to track it down yourself.
Yeah. Well, yes. And, to this guy's credit, Steve Kirsch here in his newsletter, I mean, he does try to document everything, and he says, like, hey, here's Newsweek talking about it, and here are the tweets, and he shows the tweets and everything else. And he actually says he had a neurologist look at the before and after videos of before Newsom had his booster and after. And they're all, I mean, the one that he cites here, and a dermatologist, interestingly enough, they're both saying that these are telltale signs of cerebral palsy that Newsom is displaying.
Well, cerebral palsy is different from
Bell's palsy. I'm sorry, Bell's palsy. Okay. Bell's palsy. Yeah, sorry.
Yeah, sure. So that's fine. He's saying somebody told him something.
But that's, again, there's like one removed sources that aren't necessarily
something you can't check on your own.
Yeah, you can't check. You got to ask your own neurologist friend, and not everybody has a neurologist friend or something,
Yeah. And anywho, if an I'm just saying as a blanket statement, if an alt media thing that you trust and like and appreciate and feel good with makes a habit out of either misleading you or not giving you the sources, or even protecting a straw man, if you're repeatedly seeing straw mans set up about the other side, these are just things you want to consider, and try to find an outlet that doesn't have those problems, and that includes us. I mean, we try our best to make all our sources available, to steel man our opponents, which is the opposite of straw man. Try to present the best version of the oppositional stance. And all these sorts of things. We try very hard, but if it's not good enough for you and you're not buying it, you should probably find someone who meets those qualifications to your standards. But that's a great way to not fall into some of these disinfo things. And, if somebody repeatedly takes advantage of your trust in their outlet, maybe just start finding another outlet.
Yeah.
That's all.
Yep. I think the reason for the video, the Newsom video, is based off of this guy's analysis of Bell's palsy. He's got the pictures of Newsom in his most recent appearance, and he's got the left cheek area. There's a big circle right there, and his eye, and that looks like the foundation for the editing of the video. Which again, I mean, I don't know. There's all kinds of narratives that
and then the Photoshop thing is a classic too, and unfortunately it's really hard just to go off of facial portrait sort of evidence, because that is so easy to manipulate.
There's lighting issues, there's all kinds of stuff,
and very difficult for people to confirm. I mean, there's ways you can go in. There's actually like Photoshop detectors that you can use, little pieces of software, but not everybody's going to do that.
Right.
So. But anyways, he might have Bell's palsy. I don't know. He may have recovered. But this video and some other analyses I'm not necessarily convinced of.
Yeah.
All right. Well, anything else for POLYTICK?
That's it.
Woo! Okay, let's take a look at some art.
It's break time! Come on, take a break.
All right. We thanked the producers earlier who came in with their treasure. We're going to thank producers that come in with their time and talent. We appreciate all of you who helped produce the show in that way. I want to thank Christine C. for doing the timestamps. Appreciate that. That's the timestamps to help with, especially on YouTube, jump around different topics so you don't have to sit through the entirety of our giant faces on the screen now.
And also, thanks to Christine C., because I have been notified that she was one of the artists on the calendar.
Yes.
Yeah, so thank you very much, Christine C., for your contribution to that as well.
Yeah, and there's something actually from Christine C.'s drawing that I might need to inquire. I might need to do a team meeting on that later.
Okay.
Okay, so thank you for that, Christine C. We also like to present jingles and ISOs and everything that people have made. We don't have any jingles as far as I understand. I don't think we got any for this episode. Let me double check.
I didn't see any, but yes, that's like Gonz was saying. There's all sorts of ways to produce the show, including art, which you can find on our Instagram page. I'll be posting that after the show today. So if you are tired of just listening to us describe the art by producers, which is a very important aspect of the culture here on the show, you can follow us over on Instagram. Just search for Canary Cry News Talk. And you can see all the art getting put up there. We also put up clips and stuff like that. So follow us over on Instagram. Just search for Canary Cry News Talk.
And speaking of art...
One art, please.
Gonna kick things off with Dame Allie of the Skillet Nation.
One art, please. One art, please. Another one from Allie now. Here it is.
And this piece is titled The Not So Great Narrative. And Allie's art for today, Klaus Schwab ponders the next chapter of his not-so-great narrative. And posted here is a definition of narrative, a spoken or written account of connected events, a story. And there's a part that's highlighted here, along with argumentation, description, and exposition. Narration, broadly defined, is one of 4 rhetorical modes of discourse. More narrowly defined, it is the fiction writing mode in which the narrator communicates directly to its reader. Mm-hmm. So there you go.
Yeah, and we've got a portrait here in classic Alley pencil portrait style of Klaus Schwab or Klaus Blob or Santa Claus, however you want to refer to him. Yes, he's the lizard person in charge of the World Economic Forum. His former campaign, The Great Reset, has evolved into the Great Narrative, and he's here to craft your worldview for you with the help of the other establishment elites around the world. And very well done, Allie. This just keeps getting better and better. The eyes, of course.
Yes.
Showing his reptilian self underneath his, relatively loose-fitting human skin.
That's ageist. We're going to be canceled.
I'm just saying, I could have said it a lot of different ways. I think it's just relatively loose-fitting. He's comfortable. He's got some, it's like relaxing skin he's got on there.
It's about to shed. Just as a side note here and for fun, and for you, Basil, there was a bonus photo included in this note here. No obligation to share, but I'll share it anyway. This is Otis, Allie's cat, studiously ignores her Schwab, and it's a picture of a black cat looking right at the camera, looking so cute. And then on the ground there, or on the bed or something, is the portrait of Klaus Schwab, and the cat is just ignoring.
So cute, yes.
Klaus.
You can guarantee if you are working very hard on something, the cat will come and remind you that that the cat deserves your attention more than whatever you're working on. So, he's so cute. Also, lizard eyes on this cat.
Lizard eyes on the cat too.
I think cats might all be secretly reptilians as well, controlling us from the inside.
That is very possible.
Thank you very much, Dame Allie.
Thank you, Dame Allie. Appreciate it. All right, we got another one from Sir Dove.
What are these from Dove?
And he has a note. Peace. Got the idea for this one last week during one of the producer breaks when Sir Sigra mentioned Santa Claus, who takes presents and joy from children instead of giving it. We catch up with Klaus during the holiday season, hosting children for a photo op inside of his Christmas cage. Hope you guys like it. Keep doing what you do, and I'll keep praying for yins.
This is awesome.
Yeah.
Yes, and as you heard, folks, it's Santa Claus he's in a Christmas cage, much like the cage he revealed at his current event where he revealed the Great Narrative. But the cage is adorned with Christmas ornaments, so it's not just it's not all just evil lizard activities in that cage.
Lizard green though. Lizard green.
He's got a child on his lap here who looks like he's looking at the list of who's naughty or not nice. Is that the naughty list?
Yeah.
He's got a little speech bubble here that says, "You will get nothing, and you will like it." And the child does not seem to like it very much. On the right-hand side, we've got a Christmas tree with derpy Baphomet ornaments, human skulls, just classic Christmas ornaments.
No, I don't think that's human. I think that's the baby Nephilim skulls. The
baby Nephilim, yes. Well, there's nothing says Christmas spirit like baby Nephilim skulls hanging on the Christmas tree. There's some gifts adorning the scene here. What does that tag on that gift say? You got to give us the Easter eggs, Gonz.
It says from Klaus to Jenny, but Jenny is crossed out and it says Klaus. From Klaus to Klaus.
Yeah, that is how his whole system works.
Yeah. Other little gems on the note. It looks like the naughty list. I'm on there. Basil Rosewater's on there. Casey's on there. Aaron J. The Wands. Heather Russ. Ebony Blaze. It looks like Allie and Dove are on there.
Producing the show gets you on the naughty list, it sounds like.
Yeah. So, and yes, tears on this girl.
Yes.
Sitting on the lap of.
Not at all.
No, I wouldn't be happy either.
Thank you very much, Sir Dove.
Thank you, Sir Dove.
And remember, we've got more art, but yes, remember to check these out on the Instagram.
Yep. One more here from Ryan N., and her graphic novelist.
Woo! Okay, I probably should have pulled this up a little bit early, but Ryan N. brings us the next installment to his graphic novel. Do we have a name for this graphic novel? Do we have it, and have we forgotten it?
Yeah, it's...
Okay, while you look that up, I will read.
AOL.
Is what?
I'll get it. Hold on.
Okay. Okay, here's the next thing. Remember, we just saw the false prophet call down fire from heaven and burn up the doubter. And the scene continues. The false prophet, Duke, he's standing facing the crowd and says, "Any more questions?" Didn't think so. Next cell is a big external shot of the dome, the bird cage smart city. It says, shortly after, all 10 cavies were locked down, no one in, no one out, in the name of safety for all true Neo-Romans, and anyone suspected to be an enemy of Neo-Roma was gathered from among the people. In this cell, we've got this. Are these robot soldiers? I think they're at least regular soldiers with robot dogs helping them round up all the malcontents. The next cell says Benedict Guile had finally brought the world eternal unity. We've got a big sort of agitprop poster hanging up that says, "Follow me to illumination," with Benedict Guile, rather, up there. And the last cell says, "But forget the history of the empire for a minute." Whoosh! We have the poster. It looks like it's getting blown off the wall there. Forget the history. We're going to learn some more, Gonz. We'll learn some more in the next installment of Ryan N's graphic novel.
Changing Times and Seasons. It's actually called Advent of Logos. We should probably have done that 17 episodes or pages ago.
Advent of Logos. Okay, there we go. Yes. Yep. Now we know for the future. Thank you very much, Ryan N. Appreciate your hard work. And again, remember, you can catch up with all the art over on the Instagram channel. Just search for Canary Cry News Talk.
Yep. Thank you very much, Ryan N. And that does it for the art. Let's mention the meetups real quick.
Okay.
Canary Cry Meetup.
Go to CanaryCry.Meetups.com. Learn how you can put together your own meetup or see if there's a meetup near you. Excuse me. Near you. I must use my voice to talk. Ciara doing a couple more. I guess she's handing off some of these meetups. SoCal meetup, December 4th, 2021, Lincoln Memorial Shrine at 1 p.m. in Redlands, California. Washington and Canada meetup, Peace Arc National Park, March 19th, 2022, 12 p.m. That's a little bit later. EU meetup coming up November 27th. That is coming up less than 2 weeks away. Mr. Jag is the one putting it together, Hungry Hungarian. It's going to be at the Vienna Christmas Market. So
yes, and we did receive a note from Mr. Jag that there are some things up in the air because of the Austrian 2G vaccination thing.
Oh, yeah.
You know, they've been doing their whole vaccination program recently, 2G. And so it's a little up in the air, but if you are in the EU, definitely send an email to Mr. Jag and check in, because there may be some shifts in location and time, depending on how things develop. He said he had a few people lined up, but he requests that EU listeners check back in with Mr. Jag. You can find his contact information on CanaryCry.Meetups.com.
Cool. Yeah, they're going to have to do this like underground Canary Cry meetup over there.
Yeah.
It's too much tyranny.
Yeah, well, more than likely it just won't be in Austria, but we'll see what happens.
Cool.
And we had a note from Ciara regarding the meetup. SoCal is still on.
Okay.
Washington and Vancouver is still on.
Okay.
And Zoom meetings every third Saturday are still on.
Oh, cool. Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Very good. Baton Rouge, Louisiana, December 20th, 2021. It's a Canary Cry meetup down there at the Tsunami Sushi on the roof of the Shaw Arts Center downtown. You can RSVP Josiah B. Dyer at gmail.com. And he's also organizing the January 8th, 2022 in North Idaho. This is part 2. Saturday, January 8th. It'll be a late Christmas complete with white elephant gift giving. And I think location is still up in the air for that one. Coeur d'Alene, Idaho, January 8th, 2022. And there's also a Florida meetup coming up January 22nd, 2022. Florida Panhandle. Ye Old Brothers Brewery in Navarre, Florida. Navarre, Florida. Navarre. Navarre. Okay. Contact kmbrown815 at gmail.com and jackie.umfrey@mail.com. All that information is there at the CanaryCry.meetups.com. And also Bend, Oregon. That's from Gabe. RSVP Gabe Garcia 87 at yahoo.com. That's going to be Central Oregon Canary Cry meetup at the Crux Fermentation Project, December 11th, 2021. Absolutely no shills allowed.
Well, there's always at least one.
There's always one. You gotta figure out who the shill is. You guys can play that game.
That's great.
Yep, there you go. I think that's all of them.
Cool. So if you heard any of these meetups, and if one of those rung a bell for you near you or in your state or within driving distance, head over to CanaryCry.meetups.com. All the contact information for the hosts are there. Get in contact, RSVP, and meet more Canarians just like you. It's always surprising to everyone who shows up to these meetups just how many other Canarians are in your area. And if there's not a meetup in your area, start one yourself. It's super easy. All you got to do, pick a time and a place, get some contact information, give it to us. We'll let people know, plan it out a month or two in advance so people can get in touch. And it's really important, folks. And super fun. It's important to, first of all, realize that there are other humans that you can meet that are not on the internet, that, are on the same level with everything. And we just highly recommend it. And no matter where you are, there are Canarians around you. You just need to do a meetup and they'll start coming out of the woodwork. Just somebody's got to step out and be bold enough to host the meetup. So there you go, CanaryCry.meetups.com. You ready for some microfiction? Oh, see you at the meetup, Gonz.
This is fun!
Okay, we've got some microfiction from Runk Smash here.
All right.
Let me just check real quick. I thought maybe there had been a couple, but there have been so many whoopsie doodles.
I thought they were over, or at least the segment or the series.
Oh, you thought it was over, Gonz. Maybe that arc is over, but there's some microfiction here that says a strange man in an unconvincing fake beard enters a boardroom and takes his seat among the narrative makers. Ooh. They begin discussing plans. Klaus proposes a program called The Big Reset, but our man on the inside proposes using the term great a lot.
That's pretty good.
Yeah, we've got a new arc starting in the microfiction here. Can't wait to who could possibly be this man in an unconvincing fake beard on the inside, sitting at the table with Klaus and the other narrative makers. We'll find out next time on the Canary Cry microfiction. Thank you very much, Runk Smash, for keeping it going, buddy.
I just love that imagery of Klaus being in there. It's a big reset.
It's really big.
Listen, Klaus, you need to change the words. Okay.
Anything else to mention before we wake on up here?
I think that's it.
Okay.
Oh, you know what? You should mention the calendar just once.
Yes. So, if you're out there and you head on over to CanaryCryRadio.com/support, why don't you hit that jingle just for fun?
Okay.
CanaryCryRadio.com
canarycry.com/support.
That's right, CanaryCry.Radio.com/support. If you head on over there, you can become a producer of the show. Now, for 2022, as we move into the 2022 times, we've got the 2022 calendar. It's very exciting. It's a fun, collectible and utility-driven calendar. All sorts of important dates that you won't find on your regular calendar. You find at CVS or whatever. It's filled with dates that are important to the Canary Cry community, to the Truther community, things like that. And it features art by your favorite Canary Cry artists, including Sir Duff, Dame Alley, 88, Christine C, J Vella, and I think even Sir Casey the Shield Knight put together the cover, the back and front covers there. So it really is a family affair. Now, here's the thing, folks. We're not a retail shop. We don't sell products. That's not what we do. It just complicates things. So the Canary Cry calendar is a thank you gift for people who join up to produce the show going into 2022 in the amount of $20.22 a month. And it is a thank you gift. At the top of the support page, you'll see all the information there. You got to make sure to put in your mailing address and stuff when it asks for that. But it's really cool, and it's specifically a gift for people who are, committing to help produce the show and start this new year off right, because things are not going to get any simpler to dissect. We certainly are going to continue doing the work that we do. But if you want to be a part of that in 2022, head on over and become a producer, and we'll give you this nice little thank you gift. We've already gotten some questions about, are we going back in time and seeing if, whoever is currently and doing it that way. Unfortunately, it just messes things up on the administrative side. So if you want to get your hands on the calendar, come on through, go through this link, this button we have here, and fill out all the information. If you're already a supporter of the show and you really want to get this calendar, go through this process, sign up for the 2022, because on the back end, you get put on the list and we get your address for shipping and everything. And if you need to, cancel your previous support or something, we understand. Or if you just want to commit to continue growing the show, you can do that however you want. So there you go. And do you have any questions, Gonz?
No, I think we're good. I think you covered everything.
Okay. Yes. And there we go. And it was brought up, well, it's for monthly supporters. What if somebody just signs up and then cancels right away? Unfortunately, there will be scoundrels who do that, who are, trying to hurt us by getting free things and, kind of scamming us in that way. There's nothing really we can do about it. This is the kind of way we need to go. But just know, if your plan is to sign up and have the calendar sent to you and then delete your support before you ever get charged, we have your name and your address. So we'll keep an eye on you for next time.
Wow, threats.
I'm just saying, maybe somebody hasn't thought all the way through with planning on scamming their good buddies Basil and Gonz. But
wow.
There's nothing I can do to stop you from doing that, but we will know who you are.
As Joe Biden said on our behalf,
we will hunt you down and make you pay.
Yes. And yes, I'm sorry. I'm sorry we have to do it this way. There's so many complicated reasons, including legal reasons, why we don't sell products, why we don't get into that business. So it's just not what we do. This is a free gift for those who are producers of the show, because that's what we do. We make a television show on the internet. Okay.
Still not sure why people are watching.
Not sure. It surprises me every day that people actually tune into the show. And yes, as far as like getting multiples, I don't know. We need to think about that. If I guess you can just sign up for multiple 2022s. That is the current system. If you want to get multiple calendars, other than that, we'll have to work some stuff on just email us if you want to get more. We'll figure it out. Okay, there we go. Let's wake up.
Yes, it's wake up time.
Hey, yo, wake up.
Before we get into our last couple stories here, I just want to bring this update real quick because we just covered the story. DailyMail.co.uk exclusive. Suicide bomber who died when his device blew up outside Liverpool hospital was pizza chef, 32 years old, who fled Middle East and converted to Christianity at cathedral he wanted to attack, quote unquote, and was once arrested for carrying a knife.
Huh.
So
interesting.
Remember, I joked and I said, "Oh yeah, he's a Christian too."
Yeah, see, that is interesting.
It's like,
because of
whoa,
course
man.
I was watching the chat, and of course people are stating the obvious that this is probably Islamic terror attack, especially considering all of the immigration that's been happening over the past few years. But you nailed it. Yeah. Oh, no, don't worry. He was Muslim, but he converted to Christianity and then committed a terror attack. Perfectly fits with the narrative being crafted.
Yeah. I think the whole white supremacy stuff, they're just going to keep drilling on that until they have their ideal candidate, if you know what I mean.
Yep. No, totally.
All right, but we're going to do a quick couple stories here to wrap up the show. This one has to do with geoengineering. You want to take this one, Basil? This is echoes a story we had a couple episodes ago.
Yeah, sure. Sorry, I was reading the chat. Somebody was so surprised that we don't like our own show. It's just a joke. I was just using humor for entertainment purposes, folks. I do like this show a lot, actually. This is coming from CBSNews.com. No, I do not want your notifications, CBS News. How climate change threatens pregnant women and their fetuses. Forget about the vaccines, folks. Don't think about this experimental gene therapy on how that may affect pregnant women and their fetuses. No. It's all about climate change, the biggest threat to pregnant women.
And this on the heels...
And their fetuses.
And on the heels...
Their fetuses, Gonzo.
I think this actually came out around the same time or maybe right after the other story about how there was the first case of somebody that was... was it prescribed with suffering from climate change or something?
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
was that what that was?
Yeah, it was diagnosed.
Right,
with climate change in Canada.
Yeah,
right.
Okay.
So this, and at the time we said this will start happening more and more. Yeah. We'll be here to tell you. Here we go. On the same track here. CBS News. How climate change threatens pregnant women and their fetuses.
Watch out, fetuses.
Watch out, fetuses. World leaders will turn their focus to gender Tuesday.
Oh.
The UN Global Climate Summit in Glasgow, Scotland. Globally, women are more vulnerable to the effects of climate change than men. Of course. It's the patriarchy.
What? Why?
The weather is the patriarchy, Gonz. Climate change is just an extension of the male oppression of women across the world.
So
we know this.
The tornado sees some women and they go, that's
all
right.
All tornadoes are men. And all hurricanes are also men. And the sun is a man.
No, but the earth is a woman.
The wind is a man.
Gaia is a woman.
The earth is a woman. See? It's all coming together now, isn't it?
Okay.
Women are more vulnerable to the effects of climate change than men, as they make up a majority of the world's poor and depend most on natural resources.
Don't men also, aren't there poor men?
And, okay,
all right.
I've had enough of your patriarchal propaganda. Women depend most on natural resources. They need more water, they need more food, they need more cobalt and copper. They need more.
Apparently, men can survive more on natural resources or synthetic resources. Is that what's going on?
All the men need is just some Slim Jims and a football game, Gonz. You know this. according to the UN's Intergovernmental Panel on Climate Change. The United States, one subgroup of women are particularly at risk, pregnant women. As global temperatures and emissions rise, so does the impact of climate change on public health. More pollutants from automobiles, fossil fuel plants, and smoke from wildfires degrades air quality. This means at-risk populations such as pregnant women and developing fetuses are more likely...
Hey, wait a minute.
Yeah, hold on.
Hold on.
At-risk populations, including developing fetuses... This is kind of bumping up against the what do they call it? Reproductive rights argument.
Yeah, what happened to my body, my choice?
Yeah, this at risk. You know what? I agree, CBS. In today's America, developing fetuses may be the most at risk population in the country.
It's true. You might get killed by some mean parents, or climate.
A doctor, or climate. Yes, could be anything. Yes, it's a dangerous world for developing fetuses.
Are they going to start blaming all abortions on climate change?
It honestly, no joke, would not surprise me.
That would not be surprising at all.
No.
At a certain
This
point,
means
yeah.
at-risk populations such as pregnant women and developing fetuses are more likely to suffer from cardiac disease, respiratory disease, and put stress on mental health. Here's a little science note for CBS. Developing fetuses do not breathe. So, moving on. Climate-related exacerbation of air pollution and heat exposure significantly increases the risk to maternal, fetal, and infant health, according to a 2020 JAMA Network review that assessed more than 32 million U.S. births. For the first time in the U.S., researchers found consistent evidence that pollution in the air and heat affects pregnancy outcomes, including stillbirth, low birth weight, and preterm delivery rates, said Rupa Basu, head of the Air and Climate Epidemiology section of the California Environmental Protection Agency and co-author of the JAMA study. Microscopic air pollutants have the ability to go deep into a mother's lungs, Basu said. Nanobots. Get some borax for those nanobots, pregnant ladies. Threatening her pulmonary health. Pollutants can cross into the placenta, leading to inflammation that can cause gestational diabetes or preeclampsia. Extreme heat can stress the mother and trigger reactions of dizziness or cardiac arrest. The review also confirmed that mothers most threatened are those with asthma and minorities, especially black women.
Why? That doesn't make...
Well, it's funny because asthma makes sense.
Yeah.
But why is women with asthma and minorities, especially black women? You know, I'm not a scientist. I'm not saying that this is not true. I'm just saying you can't just throw that out without explanation.
Weird that everything else that they've mentioned are physical symptoms or
disease, someone with a disease or a minority. Right. That's not
how is that not racist?
CBS.
Yeah, okay. All right.
Quote, pregnancy is a natural stress test, so if folks are already stressed through environmental racism, Gonz, I don't want to hear it. Keep your racist patriarchal propaganda out of my truth-laden CBS article.
Oh, no. Okay,
so folks are already stressed through environmental racism, environmental injustice. Their stress is only exacerbated during the very fragile time of pregnancy and childbirth, said Kelly Davis, chief of Birth Equity Innovation at the National Birth Equity Collaborative, a reproductive justice nonprofit.
Wow.
I wonder what their tax documents say about... I wonder what their money goes to.
Yeah, interesting.
Sounds like it's such a beautifully crafted name for a nonprofit. It's just begging to have on the balance sheet, we donate $5 million a year to free abortions. National and international climate discussions like the UN summit overlook the immediate needs of marginalized communities Davis told CBS News, quote, oftentimes climate change goals are so lofty and all of these things are important, but they erase the emergency and environmental concerns that black women and pregnant people are facing every day. You think that, I feel like originally that said black people and pregnant women, but as we know, it's not only women who can get pregnant now, Gonz. So it's pregnant people. And as we've seen famously, when it comes to black women versus black men, black women are the ones who get the attention.
Right.
Black and indigenous women in the U.S. are 2 to 3 times more likely to die from pregnancy-related causes than white women, according to the Centers for Disease Control and Prevention. Climate threats only exacerbate that pre-existing maternal health crisis in the U.S., and yet few people know about the danger, said Skye Wheeler, senior researcher of the Women's Rights Division at Human Rights Watch. Who is it who heads up the Human Rights Watch, and what did we just report on Human Rights Watch? It was an episode or 2 ago.
Oh, yes. I remember? Ringing a bell now, yeah.
Yep. We need to... This is weird, Gonz. The producer document somehow got... Oh, did you copy and paste that into our document?
I do that all the time at the bottom because I gotta edit that down. So sorry.
No worries. It was just confusing for a second. What was it? It was... Sorry, folks. Sorry to stop everything like this, but there was this crazy story of the guy from Human Rights Watch, the head of it, who did something crazy. Man, does anybody in the chat remember this? Oh, we're going to have to just skip it. I really want to bring that back up. First patient diagnosed with climate change. Oh, man. Okay, well, maybe somebody in the chat remembers.
I'm trying to find.
Okay, we got to continue. This is too much dead air. Yeah, sorry about that. Okay. Women's Rights Division at Human Rights Watch. There is more public information about protecting pets from extreme heat than there is about protecting... There's more public information about protecting pets from extreme heat than there is about pregnant women, according to the most recent Human Rights Watch review of 105 official heat safety web pages, climate action plans, and sustainability initiatives for 18 major cities, including the 15 most populous, totaling 32 million people. So close. Oh, geez. Only 2 of the reviewed documents from Chicago and Philadelphia explicitly address the danger heat poses during pregnancy. Since the review was conducted in August 2020, New York City has added the group to a list of vulnerable populations. Concerns about the dangers of heat for pets were found 37 times in the literature. Rising temperatures puts extra stress on a mother and fetus. A 2020 Harvard study found a link between gestational diabetes and extreme heat. This summer, the American College of Obstetricians and Gynecologists issued guidance on the link between extreme temperatures and irregular birth outcomes. Even a hurricane can put expectant mothers under enough added stress that the weather can lead to higher rates of preterm births. President Joe Biden's Build Back Better plan. Oh, here we go, Gonz. President, we've told you everything you need to know about how the climate is going to kill pregnant women and their fetuses. But we end up with President Joe Biden's Build Back Better plan includes legislation to address the link between climate threats and pregnancy. Representative Lauren Underwood, a Democrat from Illinois, has introduced legislation that would help educate medical professionals and patients on climate change-related risks for pregnant people. So,
Build back better. Build back better. Build back better. We will build Babylon better. This time, a new world order.
That's right. If you care about pregnant women or unborn fetuses, you got to support the Build Back Better plan. It's the moral, it's the ethical thing to do. Apparently.
When it comes to climate, we care about the fetuses.
Yeah, right.
But
Isn't
when it comes
crazy?
to just, existing, well, mom's got the right to choose and kill. I don't know, man. Pretty wild.
I'm scanning here, see if anybody remembered.
Yeah, I could sit through all the
we don't need
docs,
to.
but we
I
won't
think
right
it
now.
was he turns out, I mean, what it was is the human rights guy is some sort of super shady character leading this human rights organization, but he's like a total villainous mastermind.
I feel like that was several episodes ago.
I think it was too.
It might have been at least 4
it may have been
or 5
last week. But anywho, there you go. I mean, this is all wrapped up in all sorts of things. And again, like you said, we care about the fetuses when it comes to climate change, but really only then.
Yeah, the only time it matters. All right, we're going to wrap things up with a Nephilim update.
Nephilim update.
And this is more of a Nephilim update kind of adjacent, because this is a Christian, I believe this is a Christian outlet, the crosswalk.com. It's in the top 5,000 websites visited in America. So it's a faith-based outlet. And I thought it was interesting that, November 2021, the conversation about giants and Anakim and Nephilim has come a long way, I feel like, in the last decade or so, thanks to people like Dr. Heiser and others. So the article is titled, "Did Anakim giants actually exist, or are they a fairy tale?" And it reads like this: "The Anakim, also called the Anakites, as in Deuteronomy 9:2, were descended from Anak, who was a descendant of a man named Arba." Joshua 15:13. Easton's Bible Dictionary states that based on what Genesis 14:1-6 says about who inhabited Canaan in Abraham's lifetime, the Anakim lived in what became Edom and Hebron. Easton argues that many mean the Anakim came from the area's first inhabitants before the Canaanite nations populated the area a few centuries later. Given that Isaac's son Esau settled in Edom, it's possible that at some juncture Esau's descendants, the Edomites, intermarried with the Anakim. The first big mention of the Anakim comes in Numbers 13 when Moses sent spies into Canaan to see the land that God would give to Israel. The spies traveled to several areas, including Hebron, quote, where Ahiman, Sheshai, and Talmai, the descendants of Anak, lived. That's Numbers 13:22. Assuming these were literally Anak's sons, not descendants centuries later like Jesus was the son of David, that would suggest the Anakim were a reasonably new group, a new people group. When the spies came back and reported to Moses, they admitted the land was good, but argued that it was too hard to conquer. Specifically, the spies said, quote, "We saw the Nephilim there, the descendants from Anak come from the Nephilim. We seemed like grasshoppers in our own eyes, and we looked the same to them." Numbers 13:33, parentheticals mine. Are the Anakim and Nephilim the same? The Nephilim are first mentioned in Genesis 6, which says they were in the world in the early days, quote, when the sons of God went into the daughters of humans and had children by them. They were the heroes of old, men of renown. Since pagan kings often claimed divine status, some scholars argue that sons of God is a term for pagan princes fornicating with women from other nations and having children who were seen as powerful or sacred. It's also possible that the sons of God were the descendants of Seth, Adam's third son, who is considered to be his true heir. Others have argued that demons or some kind of pre-Adamic sentient beings were present on Earth at this time and had offspring with human women. The idea that there were other sentient beings besides Adam and Eve in Earth's early days seemed to be supported by the fact that when God curses Cain, Cain worries about meeting strangers who will kill him, Genesis 4:13 and 14. It's a little hard to run into a stranger when you, your dead brother, and your two parents are the only people on Earth. Therefore, we can conjecture there were other people of some kind around at this point, people not related to Cain. That at least opens the possibility for demons and other beings roaming the earth, eventually having children with Adam's descendants. I was kind of blown away that they would even allow this to be printed of a more mainstream type of outlet here, a Christian outlet. I mean, they're really kind of digging into the nuts and bolts of the Anakim, the Nephilim, and the possibilities. And a lot of times, what I've noticed over the years was that with these types of like mainstream articles, they really push the Sethite view. Like, oh, they're just humans. They were just pagan leaders, mating with other people groups. But I don't know. It's just interesting how at this point in time, the author of this article anyway likes to leave open the possibility that they were demons or some kind of pre-Adamic race, all of which we've covered here on extensively on Canary Cry Radio and Canary Cry News Talk. Then it gets into a little bit more here. There's a section titled, Did Giants Actually Exist? We know that there are medical conditions like acromegaly, is that how you say it? Acromegaly, that can make people unusually large. Frequently, these conditions actually make people's bodies weaker, even as they keep growing. Robert Pershing Wadlow was 8 feet 11 inches, the tallest person on record, and he was died, I think he went dead. He was dead by age 22. Malcolm Gladwell makes an interesting suggestion in his book David and Goliath that if Goliath had acromegaly, he would have looked huge but been pretty weak in battle, which would make it more of a scare tactic than a tactical advantage. 2 Samuel 21:22 mentions Davis's, I think that he meant David's brother, killing a giant with 24 fingers and 24 toes, a genetic mutation trait that can still happen today, though not necessarily connected to giantism. Again, interesting because, if you look at Goliath and what he represented, and others like, the Og of Bashan, stuff like that, biblically, they weren't just like, oh, they were big and scary and people just listened to them because they were big and scary. At least that's not how the Bible portrays them.
Right.
However, the key question for many scholars is whether the giants mentioned in the Old Testament were unusual medical phenomenon or a race of giant people. When Moses' spies talked about the Nephilim as being huge, they didn't have to explain who the Nephilim were, and no one rebutted their claim that the Nephilim were big. This means that their audience already knew who the Nephilim were, and it was generally understood that the Nephilim were huge. Later, David's men are described as killing multiple Philistine soldiers who were giants, 2 Samuel 22:15-22, suggesting an unusual percentage of giants in that group, or people group. There are indications that some Anakim lived in Gath, Joshua 11:22, Goliath's hometown, which suggests a family connection between the Anakim and the Philistine giants. All this information suggests that the Nephilim, their descendants, the Anakim, and their relatives were all known for being giants. Whether this was because they had an odd gene pool or had some sort of giant heritage due to supernatural ancestors depends on where you think the Nephilim came from. Pretty good summary so far. I'm very surprised. Like I said, I'm kind of impressed at the detail and just the biblical logic that they present the stuff with, without being too doctrinal, I guess, in any direction. There's just a little bit left here. As the rest of the book of Numbers shows, the Israelites' refusal to go into Canaan resulted in a harsh response from God. Ultimately, the Israelites wandered into the desert for 40 years, long enough for an entire generation to die off. Due to some mistakes that Moses made, he was allowed to lead the Israelites during this period, but died before his people finally entered Canaan, Deuteronomy 34. His protege Joshua led Israel after Moses' death and took them across the Jordan River to their first conquest, the city of Jericho. After successfully defeating Jericho, Joshua slowly worked his way through Canaan, removing all of Israel's foes. See, this person really does, I think, know Heiser's work, has read his work. Goes through Joshua's conquest here. And then the last paragraph here. Interestingly, Numbers 13:30 says that when the spies discouraged Israel from taking the land, Caleb spoke against the spies, asserting that Israel should take the land God had given him, or given from him. Joshua 15:14 states that a generation later, Caleb drove Anak's 3 sons, Sheshai, Iman, and Talmai, from their land. Thus, we see that despite the spies' claims that giants were unconquerable, Caleb and Joshua, the 2 men of their generation, to outlive the wandering in the desert, proved the naysayers wrong. So, I don't know. I just thought it was a very sound theological article about the Nephilim, which just shows how far we've come with this topic, and how the main church is looking at the scripture, and they can't outright like just regurgitate a Sethite view, or you know what I mean, like these views that kind of downplay the supernatural aspect, or the theurgy, which is the supernatural kind of interacting with people that is present all throughout the Old Testament. And I don't know, it's just a happy moment reading through this article. I was pumping my fist, like, hey, yeah, this is good stuff. Connor Salter, contributing writer for the crosswalk.com. So, yeah, I know it's a little different from a normal Nephilim update, but I think as the Nephilim infiltrates culture and video games and all that kind of stuff, as we've noticed, articles like this will be important to share as well. Like, hey, there's actually people waking up to the actual Nephilim role in Scripture. It's a lot bigger than people think, really. Yeah. And it ties into everything Jesus did and everything else. And I think that explanation and understanding needs to be more present as the kids get washed into the culture of the Nephilim, which, again, we've been tracking and has been taking place for years, but really ramping up the last couple years or so. So there you go. It's your Nephilim update.
We've definitely seen a shift in the time that we've been doing our thing. I mean, that's an entirely 180 shift.
Oh, it is so. And I noticed Heiser's influence kind of sprinkled in there, and maybe, you know, even if it's not directly from Heiser, maybe people that were disseminating some of his research and stuff. I don't know. It's just a good progress in terms of at least having that conversation without being so adamant about one interpretation or another. Especially when they poo-poo the supernatural, it's kind of like, what are you doing, bro? Come on, bro. You know?
Well, that's good. Thank you for bringing that.
Yep.
You know, I was just taking a scan through the Red Book real quick.
Uh-huh.
And I think we actually need to mark some of these things off.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I don't know if we've ever actually gone back through the Red Book to see if our, now for those who don't know, the Red Book is sort of our list of predictions that we'll make as the show goes on, and maybe we should do something more official where we actually track down a source on it. But on 5/10/2021. We predicted that there would be a quadruple variant virus or quadruple mutated virus. That definitely happened.
Called it.
Yeah. I did say Caitlyn Jenner will definitely be the California governor. That one didn't work out. Okay.
You failed. I told you.
That one didn't work
Although
out.
I was wrong too, admit, but you know.
I was going to say, Gonz, I have a couple on. You better be careful. I got a couple of years on here.
I'm sure mine are pretty. Yeah, if anybody tries to claim that we're trying to claim that we're prophets or something like that, it's like, no.
We keep a list of our failed of our failed things. Let's see here. This one I wanted to get your thoughts on. And on 5/19, we predicted vaccine companies will pump out universal boosters. Problem is, I'm not really sure what we meant by universal boosters.
I kind of remember, it rings a bell. I think this happened too, because it was more not just boosters for coronavirus, but for like everything. And I don't remember the story we based it off of.
I don't know.
A lot of times we read stories and we go, oh yeah.
Okay, here's some other ones. On 6/2. We predicted there would be a clean water hack and a sewer hack, stoplights, and coffee. All four of those things happened this year.
Called it. Called it.
And here's one.
Sorry, it was annoying, but we got to get all four.
Here's one I can't believe we missed. Laurel Hubbard, who is the transgender Olympic weightlifter. Laurel Hubbard, Olympic transgender, will pull a hammy and not win gold. She did not even place in the Olympics.
Called it.
Did she pull a hammy?
I couldn't find anything about the pulled hamstring, but maybe that's a half called it.
Well, because our point with that one was that they won't let her win because it would be too much of a problem.
It would cause too much of a stir.
There's so much more. There's a lot more political ammo if she doesn't win or like doesn't even place, because then they can say, well, look, yeah, see, this trans person competed with women, even though he's biologically a male. But that doesn't mean you can dominate the sport. I mean, clearly, look at this person. Yeah.
Well, because if she had won, especially like obviously, then it would cause more trouble for future transgender sports.
Right.
So she got 7th. She didn't even place.
We got a call from Caitlin.
Yeah. Let's see here. Yeah, I think those are kind of the main ones. I'm still looking forward to Dwayne Johnson, formerly known as The Rock, will run for office and get into politics. That's definitely going to... The one you nailed on the first go-around was in 8/9, episode 373. Basil will be confused about the "It Will Kill" jingle.
Called it.
You called it. I had no idea what you were doing. A victorious moment for you there, Gonz. All right, there's our check-in with the Red Book. Maybe I'll highlight the ones that have come true so we can keep track.
Cross them out. Or There you go. Do something.
Okay, sounds good. Should we get out of here? Is this a show?
Let's get out. Yep, I think
we did it.
3.5 hours.
Wow, it is late. Look at us go.
Know.
That's what we get for starting at 5 p.m.
I know.
Okay, folks, thanks for tuning in. Remember, we're going to be back on Wednesday. Wednesday will be the 17th of November, and that will be episode 412, I believe. Yes. So remember, if you've been thinking about producing the show, if you get value from what we do, if it means anything to you that this show continues, please consider becoming a producer of the show. It's the only way that we can keep going, folks. So it's the value for value model. If you get any value out of the show, please consider putting some value back in. It's the only way that the show can continue. And you can do that by heading on over to CanaryCry.Radio.com/support.
CanaryCry.Radio.com/support.
That's right. And I do want to thank the producers for this episode of Canary Cry News Talk, episode 411, starting with our executive producer. That's Dame Lynn, Lady of the Lakes. She saved us today. Thank you very much, Dame Lynn. But of course, thanks to our other producers, producer Samuel L., I Am Clay Now, Gail M., Catherine B., Arnold W., Dame Stormy, Gabriel G., Pavel A., Big Tank, Heather S., Sir Sigrid the Beast, Scott K., Jackie U., Sir Casey the Shield Knight, Morph, Salmon's Night of the Fishes, JC, Veronica D., 57 Chevy Girl, Amanda P., Runk Smash, Doctor Who Dundat, Child of God, and Ciara. And of course, thank you to our artists and our time stampers and microfictionists and jingle makers and everything. We can't, we could do a show, but we can't do this show without you guys. So appreciate it very much. And remember, you can produce the show in all sorts of ways, so with your time, your talent, or your treasure. If supporting the show financially is not in the cards for you, we understand. It's Christmas time. Trust us, we're feeling it too. But you can also support the show by using your talents and your times. First of all, we're really open to people's different talents and time they have available for all sorts of different reasons. So if you have a skill you want to make available to keeping the show going and making it better, just email us at CanaryCry.Radio@gmail.com. Or if you're a creative person, you want to make some art, you want to make some jingles or some music, make something for the show, about the show, send it on in. We'll feature it on the show. You can send that to CanaryCry.Radio@gmail.com or CanaryCry.Radio@protonmail.com. It's the same one, folks. Email us. But, there's other things you can do. You can leave ratings and reviews. That's a very important thing to do. I know it may sound trivial to a lot of you, but it just takes a couple of minutes, and it's very important to helping the show find new listeners, or vice versa. Find those new listeners, find the show. You can leave a rating and a review by heading to Apple Podcasts, search for Canary Cry News Talk, and subscribe and leave a rating and a review. It just takes 2 minutes or so, but when we get 5 or more people doing that a week, it activates those algorithms, and those robots go out and share the show for us. It's actually a very efficient way for a smaller number of producers to leave reviews and activate the robots to do the work for us. So please go do that. Just takes 2 seconds. Every listener should eventually leave a rating and a review, and the ones that take the time to do it now are the ones who are our favorites. Sorry, it's just how it is. Thank you guys for your ratings and reviews. I got to read them. I'll be reading them on Friday. It's the whole thing. I'm honor bound to read them word for word. So I'm looking forward to that. You can also help out the show by going to meetups. Go to CanaryCry.Meetups.com. Check it out. See what's going on. Go to a meetup, and if there isn't one near you, put one on. I guarantee there will be Canarians that show up to that meetup. You can also help out by, what are the other ways? Well, you can share the show. Just share it on your social media. Share it on your Twitter, your Facebook. Just hit that little share button. It's the one with the box and the arrow, or you could send it, text it directly to your friends and family. All sorts of options there. And don't worry if you don't have a lot of followers or whatever. It's not just about the amount of followers that your posts reach, but again, it's all about those algos, baby. When the links get out there, when it's in the Twitter sphere or whatever, it activates those robots to share the show with people who don't even know what's happening to them. It's a great way to really help people find exactly what they need, which is Canary Cry News Talk. You can get even more creative with it if you want. You don't have to do it this way, but, everybody has their own skills and creativity. One way you could do it is you could, you can become a climate scientist. It's easy, apparently, these days. Everybody's a climate scientist. And here's the thing. Once you're a climate scientist, everybody listens to you. It's just kind of the thing. You become a priest or a priestess in the new religion of climate science. And you can just start running around diagnosing everybody you see on the street with climate change disease. Make sure to put on a white coat, a white doctor's coat, and a stethoscope. And you can even hold a clipboard if you want to look extra official. Hop on one of those Razor scooters and just start scooting down the road. And as you pass every sort of sickly-looking person wearing a mask or, coming out of the vaccine clinic, whatever the case may be, you just shout at them and you say, "You have climate change! You have climate change! You have climate change!" And what this will do is will help accelerate the new pandemic that is climate change, so we can finally convince those big-wig private jet owners in Glasgow to do something to save the fetuses. And here's the thing, when those fetuses are saved, they'll become little babies. They're going to be born someday into a future, a bright new future, where they'll be so thankful to their best buddies, Basil and Gonz. We'll have a whole generation of people singing CanaryCry.Radio.com/support. Man, this one really got away from me. But you get the point. You don't have to do it that way. But however you think sharing the show will be most effective, you can do that. We like to call it rattling cages. And if you need any more instructions, here's what you do. You walk right up to them, you grab them by the cage, and then you shake it.
The end of the world occurred pretty much as we had predicted.
I want to shake things up, stir up some controversy, rattle a few cages. Hey, stop that! You'll never silence me. I'm the last angry man, a crusader for the little guy. Leave the bird alone. Never. Rattle a few cages. Rattle a few cages.
The human race will have every opportunity to improve.
And if they don't?
Ask Noah.
That's right, folks. Just ask Noah. Gonz, you got any last words?
I think that's it. Thank you, guys. And let us know if you like the giant version of us on screen or back to...
It's been slightly mixed, but I think it's on the... I think we're going to stay big, Gonz. I think so.
All right.
All right, everybody. Thanks for tuning into this episode of Canary Cry News Talk. Make sure to tune in next time. But until then... Look outside the cage.
Oh, we're done.
We're done.
Okay, hold on. Let me.
You need a tissue?
Yeah. Yeah, it's bad.
Give me a break. Come on, man. This is not about freedom or personal choice. Feed him more. I tried to tell you.
Let's invite some dudes over to fellowship tonight.
I'm for the robots.
We should invite fewer people to be born.
Remember, reality is an illusion. The universe is a hologram. Buy gold. Bye!
I want to shake things up, shake things up. I want to shake things up, shake things up. Leave the bird alone. I want to stir up some controversy. I want to rattle a few cages. I'm the last angry man. You'll never silence me. I'm the last angry man. I'm the last angry man. You'll never silence me. I'm the last angry man. A crusader for the little guy. Well, we'll see about that.
Whatever, Illuminati.
We're all gonna die.
Give me a break.
We're all gonna die.
I'll keep you warm and safe in my people's zoo.
Aliens.
I'm for the robots.
Fun fact, I believe it was another fun fact. Another fun fact. Brings me back to my Screamo days.
Aliens.
Look it up.
In the future, humans will be confined in a people's zoo.
We're all gonna die.
I'll keep you safe and warm in my people's zoo. I'll keep you safe and warm now in my people's zoo. You in my people's zoo. I'll keep the cameras on.
They've been creating animal and human hybrids for decades.
Spike facts. Dun, 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 dun.
Seeing better health officials.
Vaccinations. Vaccinations.
I'll make you fat and sassy in my people's zoo. I am vaccine. I'll make you fat and sassy in my people's zoo.
Everybody loves waffles.
You, in my people's zoo.
I'll keep you warm and safe in my people's zoo.
Do not come back, you Nazi psychopaths.